Live. Hello, everybody. We're live now. Oh, gosh.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Hi, everybody. First of all, let's get a quick audio check. How do we sound? How do I sound? And then how does Phil sound?
You you sound lovely to me, but yeah, we got to ask the amazing people. Let me see.
Valentian 23, sorry you're late. You're not late. You just, I'm late. Honestly, where the world is late. Okay. Let's just send this out. And here we go.
Sleep easy.
Sleep easy in chat. Yes. Yes. Doing great here already. Look at that. Look how good we're doing. Oh boy.
I'm a little
Okay.
quiet, they said.
All right. Turn you up. Turn you up. Turn you up. Okay. I think we're good. All right. So, hi. Welcome everybody to SEAL Team 7 Revelation episode 3. This is not the first time that I've had Phillip Hartshorn on, but real quick, I just wanted to say hi, everybody. Hi, Phillip Hartshorn. I'm Schrodinger's Baby Seal. We're just doing the Revelations is announced officially. It's going to come out. We have Phillip Hartshorn on here. Phillip has a ton of different channels that you can view him in a wide variety of content. Was recently the would you like to describe your experience at the Philharmonic very recently?
Sure. Yeah, you may have seen me as the narrator in Final Fantasy Distant Worlds, the official Final Fantasy concert series. I got to narrate the Final Fantasy VI opera in a special show celebrating the life's work of Nobuo Uematsu, who we all love, who did the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. And yeah, it was a dream come true. Got to work with Nobuo, met Sakaguchi, and just everybody was amazing. Yeah, dream
That
come
sounds
true.
awesome.
So
Yeah. And
it was.
you had that going on, and then also uh we had Summer Games Fest happen, and we got a surprising amount of stuff for us Square Enix fans. We had the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer out of nowhere at a 7 a.m. Switch thing. 7 a.m. for me. You know, Nintendo Direct, but we also had the closer for
Incredible.
Summer Games Fest, Final Fantasy VII Revelation. The final part of the trilogy is finally announced. First of all, what did you? I saw some of your reaction, but I want to know what were some key takeaways that you had? What's your excitement level? What did you think of the title? Anything interesting that stands out that you kind of want to highlight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we were so excited for so many years, just like all of us in the community, right? We've been talking about it. We've been thinking, what's the title? And for it to come, in my opinion, just so perfectly. I am so impressed with their marketing. I'm really glad they waited until they could show us all this. I think taking the time instead of just a little teaser to show us all that gameplay was just genius because they answered so many questions that would have popped up and we would have had probably a show talking about. They
Yeah.
answered all those right away. My excitement is completely maxed out. Like for example, I did a video like I was like 2 days before the announcement or something, saying like, "Oh, things I really want in Revelation, things
Right.
I'm looking forward to. I hope they add." And they not only did everything I said, but like 10 times more and expanded upon it. For example, I was like, "Oh, I really hope there's more, open exploration, and maybe there's a jump button. No, there's a skydive button, right? It's like the
Yeah.
coolest thing ever. Like they just expand.
Ju-
Let's
Jump
just
out of
have
a plane
verticality.
button. Yeah.
Yeah, and the chocobos now are gonna
Yeah.
get you're gonna build up your chocobo. They have every ability. It's just complete. We're talking action like full open world, under the sea, in the sky. Like it's surpassed anything I imagine. That's just the gameplay. I mean, as far as the story, I am so excited for this kind of this religiosity to the Sephiroth angle with the reunion and everything. What a cool
Yeah.
way to introduce this, and we'll test your faith, Cloud. Like, oh, I love what they're doing there. That's going to be so fun. I love the idea of, we've theorized about this for years. opening with the Northern Crater, right, as the big opening set piece, and then jumping into the airship, like, oh, we're gonna introduce all this conflict with Cloud and what's going on with him and where did he go. It's gonna be great. So yeah, my excitement's maxed out. We could talk all day about it, and yeah, I am so impressed. I think it's
Yeah,
perfect.
I was too. I was, screaming in the car. I could feel it coming after the Tifa uppercutting the Street
Yep.
Fighter Six logo. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good
So exciting.
presentation overall. What do you think of the title?
I love the title. It's funny. I did in that video I was talking about, like, I had this sort of epiphany. I was like, wait, remake and rebirth kind of mean the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I wonder if they're going to stick to that. I don't know what it could have been, but we were talking like redemption and all these other kind of
Yeah,
expanded ideas. I was like, I wonder if they have to keep it like it is a redone thing. And I'm so glad they went with Revelation, because it dawned on me that it's the crux of the entire narrative of Final Fantasy VII is
yeah,
a revelation, is
yeah,
Cloud's revelation. So to make that the title and to have it play into whatever other cool revelations there are, as far as the ending and the kind of expanded elements that we all love about the remake series, like, it's so smart. And then
yeah,
to have it so the moment of Cloud, realizing everything is just going to be, oh, of course, that's the title, right? I
yeah,
think it's genius. Never thought about it. Never even thought about it in that context, right? So it's great.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Um, okay. Well, I definitely was surprised that they had such a gameplay focused trailer, but I think that was the right thing to do, especially to the audience that they had. Because that's what people are doing there, is they're playing the game, and I think a lot of people have checked out of some of the discourse that I think is a lot more, we'll say, in the forefront of people that are in the deep fandom, like you and me, and the people in this
Mm-hmm.
chat. The story stuff. Like there was no stamps, there was no, Zach, there was no Aerith, and there was no weird live stream stuff. There was no giant Skyrift. It was just like, hey, what do you
Yep.
guys know about Final Fantasy VII as casuals? And it was like a meteor in the sky flying around in the high wind, and that was, and then
Yeah.
that this is the part of the game where if we're skipping through dialogue, that you get to play as Sid and Vincent. What did you? Let's just talk about Sid and Vincent. What did you think about their showcase this time?
I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I love
Mm-hmm.
that they instantly showed them doing a synergy attack too, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, it's kind of making you realize, oh, we're all gonna have synergy attacks with these guys, of course. But no, I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good showcase too. And I think what I liked most about the entire gameplay showcase is, and the trailer, like I said, you make a really good point, Baby Seal, about not going too deep into like the kind of insane level we're on. I think they're really appealing to original Final Fantasy VII fans, and I think they were so smart to do this,
Mm-hmm.
because it's people who they were holding off until all three games come out. I know there's a lot of people who are doing that. Fair game. You're gonna get the craziest experience ever, right, when you play all three. But I think it's really smart for those people to be like, oh, this is it. They actually remade the entire game, full Highwind. Okay, they added full exploration. Vincent and Sid, like, they're not holding back anything. So for a lot of people who were waiting and being like, let me see if they add all my favorite stuff, or if they don't add it and I won't buy. Now it's like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, they did everything. I'm getting this game. So I think it was really
weapons.
smart.
Yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
the gameplay. Oh, dude, the weapons. I mean, I don't know what I pictured, but I love that they're leaning into the weapons, right? It could have
yeah,
been something where they easily could have been like, this is too crazy. How do we do this in an open world? That they're going to be destroying the open world and altering it and stuff is just so smart. And there's new weapons, like the baby ones we saw in
yeah,
Rebirth. Like, it's just so smart. And you can tell they are, uh, and I think a really cool way, expanding it in smart ways. Like, okay, everybody loves the weapon fights, right? We love fighting Ruby Weapon, Emerald, the challenge.
yeah,
Let's add new ones. Seems like we're probably going to fight Sapphire this time too. Great, let's do it. Another super
yeah.
boss, right? He survived, so that's great. Let's see more of him. I love it. Imagine you're in the highway and you see them like rampaging around. It's going to be so much fun.
It looks good,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna be honest, I had some concerns about the weapons, partially because in Ever Crisis we got, like, I guess you'd call it new art, for the
Yeah.
Ultima weapon, and it looked terrible. He had these little baby wings, and um, it just, I mean, it just looked bad. I'm sorry to apologists of the tiny winged Ultima weapon from Ever Crisis, but your tastes are objectively bad, and you're wrong. This is way better. So I was happy to see that. I was happy to see, just this idea that we're gonna have kind of like an interesting probably an interesting mini games associated with some of the weapons, but and I remember seeing that
Yeah.
being a little afraid, like when we saw the gameplay segment of the weapons in the second trailer, where it looked like they were having like a shooting mini game basically. I was a
Yeah,
little
with the mini
scared.
weapon. Yeah.
I was a little scared that that's what the weapon fights would turn into, but this is
I
in
think
this.
Hamaguchi addressed this though. Yeah.
He did. He said, "Nope, you will bring your battle, your kit,
Yep.
your skills to the weapons fights in an important way." And like I
Yep.
think that's one of the I think I loved Final Fantasy 16 cinematic weapon. Like icon fights. Don't get me wrong, but it really
Yes.
eliminated the RPG element. There was absolutely nothing that you were
Right. It
doing
was
to.
outside of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and I wouldn't want that here. Like one of the most fun things is figuring out how to beat the two super bosses in Final Fantasy VII. Like
Yes.
figuring out how to
Oh
break
yeah.
your
Totally.
build, and there's a bunch of different ways, to address that problem. And Final Fantasy VII R so far, both remake and rebirth, have had like really really varied ways to solve every problem in combat.
Oh yeah.
Like there
Totally.
is, and all of the combat, like particularly like the hard VR challenges, all of those are still
Yep.
really hard, but the
Yes.
variety of builds that people have figured out how to beat those bosses is so fun, and so I'm excited to see that in weapons as well.
Yeah, you touch on something that I think we need to bring up is that Hamaguchi is so good, especially in this last game. And I think I'm noticing. I said this to
Mhm.
Leah. I was like, I think we're starting to see in Rebirth that he was truly holding back a lot
Oh
of his
yeah,
ideas. I think with the world exploration, he was like, all right,
yeah,
so we know we're just going completely insane in the third one. How do we limit this a little bit? Let's do the towers. I think I'm starting to see the reverse engineering of it.
yeah,
And he is so keyed in to like the gameplay and what people want. I mean, you just said it with the builds, man. Like we essentially have like Elden Ring builds at the beginning of the game now with the fits.
yeah,
It's like, oh, you want to run a black mage cloud? Cool, do that. You got them at the beginning. It's like choosing a class at the beginning. It's
yeah.
so cool, and stuff like he said. He's so keyed in, man. When he said that about the weapons, it's like, yeah, who wants to see these huge weapons? You spend 20 hours making a build, and then you don't get to use it. No, he's like, I know you guys want to test them out against these guys. So
Yeah.
it's so comforting. I mean, Hamaguchi's the best. You guys have met him. A lot of people have met him in the chat too. Like he's like the sweetest, nicest guy,
Super
and he's also just
sincere.
all about he's all about the community. I mean, he's been on like a gauntlet of interviews like every day
He's done like
since this was announced. Like
75 interviews.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like every day, it's like five more, five more. But jeez,
And
and you can tell he cares so much.
and he's really
Yeah,
tuned into discourse around every
yeah.
major topic. Like, he's really you can tell they're not letting anybody else talk right now either. Like
I
the
think it's great.
and I think
Honestly,
that's
yeah,
probably better. Like I think let's just let Hamaguchi sort of manage the messaging that the marketing wants to put, everything like that. Um,
yeah.
So like we talked about the game, the trailers showed off, very little story, but a lot could be gleaned from breaking them down about the way
Oh yeah.
things go. Like we see that we're in Wutai, and for at least a good chunk of Wutai, Cloud's not in the party, so we can sort of
Mm-hmm.
surmise that something interesting happens. That generally follows the spirit of the party being split up, um, but kind of I think masterfully reorganizes things, so that there's a narrative
Mm-hmm.
flow, and it sounds like we're only going to Rocket Town once, which it feels sad at first, but when you really think about it, it's one of those choices that they're making for narrative flow. And
Yeah.
you've always been a proponent of this. Is it's like there are pacing issues that the OG had
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you didn't notice because of the length of the game, but here we are with 300 plus hours of game. How do we make that work? And so did you have any input on how it looks like, or how you're observing the story to be going based on what little information of that we got?
Yeah, I again, it's like I saw the trailer and like you, I'm like, okay, let's see this, let's see that,
Yeah.
and then he's been clarifying so much, man. Like for example, he said like, don't worry, Rocket Town's in, it's all
Yeah.
there. It's going to be a little bit later than the original, but don't worry, it's going to pay off. And it's like just hearing that, it's like, all right, they've considered all this. It's not like they kind of lackluster threw it together is going to be good. Like I said at the beginning of this talk, I love the idea of because he said about 6 hours until you get the airship. It's like okay, so it's Northern Crater, Icicle Inn, awesome intro, probably snowboarding, and then you get this Northern Crater, just absolute
Mm.
meltdown of cloud. I think it's going to be, and I guess we'll say my spoilers for the original if you haven't played it in this, right?
Yeah.
Cloud's big mental breakdown at the Northern Crater, and then you see Tifa wake up and she sees the meteor, and it's just like, yeah, we escape we're gonna have to slap fight. We get the airship. I think that's a powerful opening, man. And then it's like, anyway, you can go anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And something Hamaguchi said that I love is like, no, you have about access to most of the world in the beginning, and it's just difficulty based. Yes, let me go try and fight the weapons and die immediately.
Yeah.
That's fun. Like it's like in the old FFs where you'd go like one pixel too far,
Yeah,
and then all of a
and
sudden the
then
enemies
you're
are like
getting
50
bodied.
levels above you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah,
because
it's so
it
fun.
makes me want to try, and I've
Yes,
wasted
because
a
it shows that
lot
it's
of
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I've wasted a lot of time in RPGs going the wrong way to see if I could break it. And
Yes.
I'm sure that
Yeah.
and it gives replayability to challenge runs, all sorts of stuff. That's really endemic. Was there anything that you noticed that was particularly different that stood out to you in the way, like,
Oh, then the original?
yeah,
I would say the sort of I saw Sephiroth on a throne with like the white materia. Yes. I love it. Absolutely. Give me that no more sauciness, I absolutely, that versus 13, kind of like, okay, a little moodiness. I love it. Beyond visual stuff like that. I would say, yeah, we mentioned Rocket Town. There's definitely going to be some reorganization of elements, right? Which I'm totally fine with. I mean, look at Wall Market. I know you agree with me on this, right? Wall Market was awesome, awesome additions. And like, what a way to make it, modernized, but also just better in every sense. Like, let's have an anime tournament arc with Aerith. Yes, that was awesome. Let's have Andrea and all these like Chocobo Sam, amazing characters that bring the world to life, right? So I think we can't even anticipate what's going to go on in Wutai,
fair enough.
right? And they said on, I think it was on the website or something, somebody found that it's like the description of the game or on the pre-order or the wish list, like the fires of war rage in this game. So like I really think we're going to be getting like Shinra having what do you call it, kind of outposts in Wutai, and there's war going on back and forth, and I think that's going to be awesome. Again, imagine flying around the Highwind. We got weapons flying around. We got a war happening. We got like troops fighting each other and stuff. It's just going to make the world feel so alive in a really cool way. So I'm all for that sort of changes. As far as other narrative changes I could glean from the trailer, they didn't show too much. I would say, yeah, Wutai, we don't know when it happens, right? They showed like Vincent and Yuffie running around in there, which I really liked. But I mean, I wonder, what do you think? Is Wutai going to be just go anytime you want? Is it going to be like there's a chapter of Wutai? Like, who knows, right?
I think Wutai is probably going to be a big hub. I think a lot of the staging is going to happen in Wutai.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go to Wutai a lot. There's like, because there's avalanches there, all the branches, right? Like we now know that Avalanche was in fact supported by Wutai. We do know that.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
That the Shinra Resistance Corporation, or company, the SRC,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is a new thing founded by, you know, Glenn Furroth. He's going to be there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And we know that there was this weird unknown if you read the books, there's this weird unknown faction of anti-Shinra age or people that Zangen was a part
Mm-hmm.
of. Like there's all this weird, like there's going to be a ton of stuff in that region.
Yes.
And like Hamaguchi even came out and directly said this is where a lot of the political elements of the game will come to fruition, right? And so he's not shying away
Yeah.
from that, which I think is it's risky for him to do that, especially in the dumb
Yeah.
climate of today's, the husk of Twitter, is really
Yes.
it's made that whole thing like risky, but he's like, no, that's what Final Fantasy VII always has been, always will be.
Yeah, you're playing the wrong game if you don't want some really strong messaging and some really powerful messaging. I would say in FF7, it's great. You know.
Okay, so there was one big change that I found
Yeah,
interesting.
remind me. What am I missing? What am I forgetting? Yeah.
The weapon dodged at the end.
Oh yeah, I love it. Sapphire.
Yeah, Sapphire. So we might
Yes.
get to fight Sapphire. What do you think that's about?
Well, I love it for two reasons. In the first,
Mhm.
the weapons look underwhelming in their power scaling. It's this colossus thing, and like, yeah, it could like crush a village, but he does a direct hit almost on where Tifa's at, and it's like, yeah, it's just a little tiny thing. It's like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
he gets one shot. He gets one shot by the cannon. It doesn't do anything. It's like, oh, okay. They're okay. I think
Yeah.
Shinra's gonna win. But in the new one, it's like, oh no, he has to dodge, and he takes his wing off. And then he has like a massive explosion up on top of Juno. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's make it like that. Heidegg's like sweating. Get the cannon back online.
Yeah.
This is what I want, man. And also another observation, you can clearly see a higher budget for this last one, man. More CG pre-rendered cutscenes.
Yeah.
I talked about this a lot. Like, you can't have a set piece like Junon with like 50 people in all these different rooms and have it just be an engine, because you have to teleport the camera around and there'd be loading issues probably like 50 times, and pop-ins or something would happen, right? Give us a pre-rendered set piece the size of a city. Yes,
Yeah.
with like an explosion like that too. And I see that there was a pre-rendered cutscene of Sephiroth's, possibly the opening at the reunion. Amazing, man. Give us all this stuff. And you know me, I'm all about the cinematics.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fantastic. So these are the sort of changes that I am all set. And then fighting Sapphire, I think we all regretted on some level not getting to fight Sapphire. So that's
Of
going to be
course.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that seems to be, I mean, other than maybe there's that scene where he's talking to the flowers and he's there, that
Oh,
seems
I
to be
loved it.
him, talking to Aerith and Zach, maybe
Aerith and Zach,
in the
yeah,
live
yeah,
stream
for
or
sure.
whatever. But there's discourse, right? Because there's this precedent set by things like 7 seconds to the end, the
Yes.
very
yes.
very clear addition of precognizance. So like, no matter how we cannot avoid the fact that in 7R, Sephiroth has more context on the future than he did in 7.
Yes.
As does Aerith, right? And that's not something that we can make an observation of and say, oh, that observation is a red herring. Like the Ultimania said, no, you're right. That's the thing that we're doing. Good looking out.
Yes.
You're that's happening. We also know that like every tagline for this has been about some way playing with the idea of destiny or promise. No promises
Everything
await.
leads here.
Yeah,
he
no
said.
promises await
Yeah,
at world's
yeah.
end. The unknown journey, and for those to have a known conclusion would create a little bit of complexity in messaging. Throw that aside.
Yes.
We've also had, just for background for this conversational point, One of the interesting things that Hamaguchi has done in this round of interviews has been really distance himself from Advent Children in particular being canon to the
Yes.
remake timeline. So he in fact he's stated you could almost consider it canon to the OG timeline, not this one. And he's said similar things about Crisis Core before, but it felt like it was in rapid fire questions, so people just dismissed it. Um, and then also he did say that uh, Hayes Madsen asked him on RPG site if previously he outed Katase. Katase said that it will link to Advent Children. What do you think that means? And Amaguchi's like, I don't think we've ever said that it will lead directly to Advent Children. I mean, they kind of did accidentally say link, but
Yeah.
I think that's where the how something links and leads are two different things, which is again
Yeah.
brought up sequel speculation, or the version of sequel that the Final Fantasy VII community likes to use, etc. What what are your thoughts on how does this project end?
I'm really excited about this, and I had a thought the other day that I think you
Okay.
guys will find interesting. So it hit me when I think it was Hamaguchi followed up in a different, like we said, did 80 interviews. I think he followed up in a different interview and said something to the effect of, this really is a project, and they've said this in the past too, of taking elements from all of the compilation and unifying them in a way. I'm paraphrasing,
Yeah.
and I love this idea, and I've thought about it, but I've never had this exact thought about the Advent Children connection. And I think I kind of have an idea of what they're doing, because think about Nero and Vice. If you play Dirge of Cerberus after FF7, you're like, this is very different, right? This does not
Right.
have the same tone, the same aesthetic, really the same anything. It feels disjointed in a way, whether you like it or not. So I love the idea of them unifying it, because, for example, when you play the Yuffie DLC, it feels like the same thing. It feels like FF7 Remake to have
Yeah.
Nero and Vice and everything. So I think by that same vein, and similarly, we're getting Zack's Crisis Core death scene at the end of Remake, right? But then he doesn't die. It's like, what's going on? So I love this idea of taking all the elements. And I thought with Advent Children, what he might be saying is that what if Advent Children, like Dirge of Cerberus, like Crisis Core, is Revelation? And
Right.
no, I don't mean afterwards we're going to keep playing and we're going to play, Edge City. We're going to fight Sephiroth on the top of the ruins. No, no, no. I'm saying he's going to incorporate elements from Advent Children into this to make it the definitive full FF7 story in one 3-game project. Like Nero and Vice are probably going to die in this game. Like maybe Vincent takes them out in the final battle outside, with Diamond Weapon and everybody. Like I really think they're gonna do stuff like that. These changes that you've been talking about, that we've loved, the possibility of these changes. I think it's going to be that level of like, let's make this the definitive story. So Advent Children, I've said this a million times to Sleep Easy, right? It's like
Yeah.
he goes inside the wing and says, I'm never going to be a memory. What happens to him? Where does he go? How cool would it be if he shows up and he unwraps himself from the wing? And then, as far as I know, a lot of your awesome theories maybe still have to do with this kind of like, what if it's, you wouldn't call it a sequel as in like part 2, but it's like,
Yeah.
what if this happens after Advent Children and this is like the final chapter, right?
Yeah.
And what if
That,
that
by the
happens? But
way,
like, what if
I
they
just
go one step further?
I do want to stop
Oh,
you
go
real
ahead.
quick.
Yeah.
That is definitely not
Yeah.
my theory. I've helped explain that theory, but just for Twitter out there, I do not think this is a sequel or that's gonna happen.
Yes, he's
Okay.
clean. He's clean.
I'm clean.
He's clean, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. All
He's
right.
safe.
All
But
right.
yes, that was my idea. I was like, because I was like, how would everybody be happy? What if it was people who wanted
Yeah.
it to be a sequel and OG purist? He does that gesture, and it's like, that's it. That's where he went. He fights Cloud in Cloud's mind after Advent Children. Then Cloud destroys him forever. But anyway, I
Yeah.
said, what if they do stuff like that? They implement stuff. What if Geostigma happens in like a
Oh,
later
that'd be
chapter of this
crazy.
game? He starts infecting people, right? And then it's all there. And then at the end, yes, Sephiroth's done, man. He's defeated. It's like, imagine at the end of FF7 when he dissipates, Cloud defeats him. We get that again, but in a more kind of like lore, I wouldn't say over explain, but in a way where it's like, oh yeah, he's not coming back. This is it. Maybe we'll get some visual language of Advent Children. Maybe we'll get like a post credits scene of Tifa like building another bar,
Yeah.
for example. Maybe we'll get Cloud honoring Zack and Aerith, putting the
Yeah.
Buster Sword in the church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe we'll get awesome stuff like that. And we'll talk about what I think Aerith is going to do in a later part of this talk. But yeah, I would love to see that. And I think it would satisfy, like you said, man, a lot of that, like those promises, those like, wait, stuff is different. Why does Sephiroth know the future? I would say they've expanded and shown the kind of like cognizance he has in Advent Children. They're just having him have that now, where it's like, oh yeah, he went to the live stream. Like he does after he dies at the end of FF7 for Advent Children. He went to the live stream after Nibelheim. So let's have it so he has that level of knowledge of the ancients. He matches Aerith, but then he was like, I'm going to take Aerith's knowledge away so I can win. So he takes her knowledge away by doing all the nonsense he's been doing, right? So that's some of my thoughts.
Do you think that maybe the reason the Sapphire weapon dodges the shot is because he too has access to that future resource, that omniscient resource that sees his future? Is there a shared mechanic there? Awesome. Or is it indication that this is Sephiroth and Jenova playing both sides? You know, because as we see, Jenova seems to have influence, or Sephiroth has influence using Jenova on things like Queen's Blood and the
canon,
and the SRC. Like he's literally playing both sides. You know, like he's taunting Shinra into a war with Wutai, etc. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that
full on Clone Wars Palpatine stuff. I love it. Yeah.
So does that mean we get? Great. Look, you can do whatever. I say this every episode. You can do whatever you want if you give me a canonical reason to have the Advent Children outfit. Like you give me the Cloudy Wolf drip. I don't. Just like you could.
Oh yeah.
It could end exactly the same. I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a whole other conversation. But like, I think the fit system is the coolest thing. But we know from the menu, and Hamaguchi clarified, there are skins. Like you click L3 and it's change outfit.
Yeah.
So you can not only have your favorite fit. He also said like, oh no, you can have like Tifa's outfits from the other game at the beginning. Like they're in there. So that would imply that, I mean, by the end of the game, you got to have the final ultimate outfit you can get, whether it's some crazy challenge or whatever. You got to have the Advent Children outfits, right? Barret, Tifa, like it's. Clouds is one of the coolest outfits ever. We both agree on this, right, baby? Yeah. Like, come on. You got to have also his ultimate weapon, his final weapon, like, and you can put it before or after ultimate weapon from the original. You got to have the fusion sword. Yeah. Make a cool reason why he has this. Like, where did it come from? Did he engineer it himself? Did someone help him? Did Sid make it? Let's make it part of the story, man. And then, you can have him like maybe an extra limit breaker or moveset where he breaks it apart and you see all the different swords, right? Like,
it's that so would be so sweet.
These things. Yeah, and I think Hamaguchi, again, he's so keyed in. I think he's gonna do it. I really do.
Okay, so, and something when we're like, okay, and look, there for people in the audience that are like tuning in to hate on the 7R project, that are just steaming at the absolute, glaze fest that we're having here. I will eventually have episodes with like people that have a little bit more to say in that department, and in a nice and genuine, non-grifty way, and so we'll have conversations
me
about
my wife don't. Yeah, we don't spend time on stuff we hate.
Yeah,
me and my wife,
but
so I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I like this.
Yeah, but this is where I'm at right now, and this is where we're at, and so just be aware of that. But I will say that something that you and I have talked about before is that something that 7R has done is, I don't want to say it's fixed the compilation, but I will say that every
Revised,
time,
I think is the word.
Every time the compilation gets injected directly into 7R, like out of place, it's a better version of it. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
like
dude, Nero
Vice,
and Vice, right?
Vice and Nero were so much better in 7R than they were in the entire game about them. And
Yeah,
so
because I mean, Dirge Cerberus feels like kind of like everything's cool. Like, yeah, Vincent's
mm,
so cool, and I mean, Vincent, he literally is. And like all these guys, like, yeah, look at this cool guy. He's got like a straight jacket. He's so cool, man. Look at Vice. He's got 2 katanas. It's cool. But these guys in 7R were scary, man.
yeah,
Like they were genuinely
terrifying.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
Genuinely made me uncomfortable. Like he seems insane. He should seem creepy.
yeah,
Nero, like he's this crazy dude who they've locked up and everything. I loved it.
yeah.
Like, and now we're getting this horror aspect with him and Yuffie and like the kind of trauma she has and the fear of obviously they're gonna have her fight him right
Oh
at the
yeah,
end somehow. Like, it's gonna be so good. And now we have a reason because Yuffie goes and fights the awesome people in the pagoda in the original.
yeah,
Let's give her like a reason to fight somebody. Let's give her vengeance. Let's give her a fear to get over.
yeah,
Instantly made her character better, right?
yeah. And they've already planted seeds for like things to do when we get there. Like you can tell there's a long plan here. Like
Yes.
we know that Godo is in jail. Like we know that he's in
Yeah.
prison
Like a war criminal or something.
from
Yeah, yeah.
intermission, right? And that there's a disagreement between, there's a more less childlike. I don't want to say like I don't want to say that Yuffie's characterization in Seven was like terrible or anything, but like it's a hard sell that she's just
Yeah.
stealing materia so that she can make her country stronger. No, she's part of like an organized movement. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to sound so like, you know, silly and juvenile that she's like left the continent to steal materia. No, she was like
Yeah.
engaged in like counteractive political measures with Avalanche, because
Yes.
Shinra was destroying her homeland. And then she was having a disagreement about how to do that with Godo, and so there's going to be this
Yep.
conversation of these two schools of thought of how you deal with, uh, oppression in your own country, a youth
Yes.
versus old. That's not just like, I'm going to steal material. Well, you should just give up because you're old. Like, it's not going to be that boring
Yeah,
thing.
it was very slapstick too. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, she robbed us again. Ah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Anyway, she's Yuffie. We love like it was just very simplified because she's a secret character.
Yeah.
And
She's,
now
yeah.
she's not. She's a fully realized, living and breathing child soldier who
Yeah.
we're gonna get to really explore. Because she's a kid, and it's gonna be like, oh my goodness, what does that do to someone? Like I said, we got Nero already traumatizing her. Like she's been through hell. And then you've got her dad. Well, maybe she'll try to break him out or something. There's just so much cool philosophical exploration that could happen and is set up. And then not to mention we got Rufus and everything. Like there's so many cool aspects of the war that they could use. And then I think they do the kind of climactic battle when Diamond Weapon attacks and we're
Mm-hmm.
like parachuting in and everything at Midgar. You can have like oh, here's another Advent Children thing you could do, right? The Tifa choreography of her fighting
Mm-hmm.
Laws. I mean, not only one of the coolest scenes, but like I'm telling you, that solidified choreography in like the kind of anime overpowered sense in like projects going forward. Right, that choreography is insane. It's so good. But that could happen. Callbacks to that. Have Tifa fight. What's her name? Red,
Oh,
Crimson. What
Crimson
is she called?
Naroso. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
have her
Yeah.
fight Tifa, and she does some of the Laws choreography, like the backflip, and we can be like, oh, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, or oh
Yeah.
my god, that's Advent Children, and like that's the sort of stuff I want to see to include Advent Children in this thing, and also expand on Yuffie, expand on all the characters, and then close it out, man. Like this is, I think Hamaguchi gets this. This is it. This is the last chance. Like there's no the next FF7 remake, unless it's in like 100 years, like a long time
Yeah.
from now. This is it. So if you're gonna do anything, Advent Children outfits, if you're gonna do cool stuff like that, are they really gonna set up Nero and Vice and then not do anything with them? Like I don't think so. I think that we're gonna do some pretty cool things, and then Dirge of Cerberus will be like, oh, this was the original vision. But something I talked about the other day is like if you play the original then Dirge, it's like you can clearly tell they just added these characters later, right? It's like, oh, they were you didn't see them because they were underground.
Yeah.
Yes, they were underground.
Yeah.
And then you see them, it's like, okay, it makes sense in the lore, but at the same time, it's like, okay.
This is
So to have it
bullshit.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we love it because we're like, okay, they obviously made it up later. We'll play it.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
But like, come on. So to have Scarlet be like, oh yeah, I know I am the leader of Deep Ground. They're gonna interact with her. That was so cool. And
Yeah.
now, even if they do nothing, you play Dirge, it's like, okay, that's more plausible. I saw them. They were just chilling. And then they got sealed by Meteor. But I think it would be much better if now you play this thing and it's like, yeah, no, Deep Ground's a part of the story. It's not
Yeah.
like something that was tacked on later. So that's just one example. Obviously, Crisis Core and these other projects, they're doing that, and Advent Children as well.
So, I mean, we can't bring this up without bringing this up.
Yeah, what you got?
Genesis. Are they going to fix
Oh,
Genesis?
absolutely.
Are they going to make Genesis cool
Yes.
for real? Because
Yes, they are.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? So there's this. We will, and I'm with you, by the way. I think that's what they're doing, is what you're describing, is that they are ending Final Fantasy VII.
Everything.
They're bringing
Yes.
it all together in a more conclusive ending, and we'll get to what
Yes.
that means for you know, the characters and the fates and all that stuff at the end. But
Yep.
for now, let's say that what you're saying is true. You know, obviously, the biggest thing, like the unresolved thing that it sounds like we'll never actually know, is what the hell happened to Dirge of Cerberus at the end and that secret ending.
Yeah, where does he go?
It's
Where
like,
does he go?
yeah, like Genesis just gacked IRL appears holding
Yes.
Vice and then just goes away to deal with some new unknown threat. Okay?
Yeah, something.
Okay. We don't have to worry about that anymore. How do you solve that problem? You rewrite it, right? And this is a good way to do it. Like, okay, if Genesis wakes up early, you know, then we deal
Yes.
with that, and that's no longer a thing.
Yep.
Okay, so here's a question. Given that, like, so I really like this string. So the difference, I think, between like the I want to say, I don't want to broadly categorize because everybody has their own, you know, variant of this. So there's a spectrum of people that believe that either, you know, this is really going to be true to form, and then all of the indications that things will deviate in a meaningful way are misdirection. They are red herrings. And then at the other end of the spectrum is that this is a full-blown sequel, meaning that some event in the future beyond Dirge of Cerberus has led to the creation of this universe. Now, I, for one,
Right.
even if that were the case, if some future event led, you know, to some kind of causal adjustment and recontextualization of the 7R universe, I don't think that a sequel is a good word for that. Okay. And I also don't think that if they did make that clear that that's what's going on, that it would actually have an impact on anything. Like the developers are either going to do what they're going to do, you know, or they're going to, you know, or they're going to completely cave and do nothing. I think the developers are going to do what they're going to do regardless of whether or not there is that explanation. I will say, though, that part of me is like, well, if they use the edge of creation, the 7 seconds to the end, the fact that Sephiroth has that near Omni-Slash fight with Cloud at the end of Remake, if they use that to actually explain that, yes, there was some kind of event that connects the OG continuity with the 7R continuity, that would be neat. I think it would be annoying to a certain sect of the fandom that hates sci-fi for whatever reason, but I think it would be neat. It is not required, though, as long as they as long as the ending is kind of, what we're talking about, this thing where they really put a solid, bow tie around this package of 7R. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I love, there's so much to talk about here. So yeah, what you just said, I think would be neat. I think it'd be really cool. And I do think if they do anything with, and again, sequel has just always been the wrong term to me
Yeah.
because Advent Children's a sequel. Like it's
Yeah.
a thing that happens after.
Rebirth
You
is a
can't have a
sequel to
99.
remake. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't have a 99.9 exactly the same story. And here we go. I'm gonna summon a certain people here for this. Like incredibly similar plot. The plot is the same.
Mm-hmm.
I got you there with that word, right? The plot's the same with some additions and
Yeah.
new scenes and tweaks. But like, and then at the end, there's like a comment gets mentioned, and it's like, yeah, I told you it was a sequel. It's like, okay, like Advent Children's a sequel. But anyway, I think it would be cool. It would be really neat. Like I said, with the wing thing, if they did something like that, where he comes out of the wing and he's like, where were we? Or something, and they finish the fight. But I think it would be cool also if there's kind of just a throwaway comment. Maybe Sephiroth's like, with the knowledge I gained from the live stream, I tried to change things or something. And it's like, oh, so that could be after Advent Children, or it could just be he died in Nibelheim and got all the knowledge.
Yeah.
But the problem here is what I just said. He has all the knowledge of the future and past, or whatever, the cries of the planet, the whispers, when he dies and goes to the live stream. He should not be alive. He should have diffused, but his will was too strong. And he said, I'm not doing that. He should not exist. So he already has the knowledge of everything. Like, so you can't be like, oh, but Advent Children, he gets more knowledge and then more. He's already got it. So I love the idea that Hamaguchi said, like, Sephiroth is nearing godhood at the beginning of this game, which means he's going to reach it. But it's really cool that, like, you see what I'm saying? There's a fundamental problem with that. So all you can do is kind of provide a little wink to people and be like, this could be either or, unless they go fully kind of, which I think would be too literal. If you see a scene of Genesis, like, yes, I caused this, and everything I did is because of this thing I did, which you'll never see beyond Dirge of Cerberus. It's too disconnected. People who are new to this game will be like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah, why?
So I think it should be a nod like that, and I'll tell you how I think they should use Genesis, and I think they will use Genesis, whenever you want. But yeah, I think a little nod would be great. I think I have said this for years now. I think they can actually satisfy everybody. The kind of like full-on sequelists. I think they can satisfy the full-on purists. And me, I would call myself probably like a revisionist, as in like I want them to take all the compilation and make it awesome, make it better.
Revisionist is a great term. I love this. Final Fantasy VII
revisionist, man.
Revisionist. That's the true the true 7R.
It is, man, because you played it as a kid, and why did people actually want a remake? They're like, oh, I wanted to see how this would look if it was the PS3 tech demo or whatever. And but that also means things have to change a little bit because it's not JPEG backgrounds.
Yeah.
There's automatically a lot of changes that have to be made. So yeah, I think that's the way I would describe it. Is I want to take, just like they said, all the elements of everything and unify it in one cohesive story. So, and I still believe this since the day remake came out. You can tell, like I've got a friend who's going to play it when all three of them are out. My wife Aaliyah started with remake. You can play these three games and that's it. That's all of FF7. You don't need to play Crisis Core. You don't need to play anything. Because let's be honest, what's the best scene of Crisis Core? It's Zack's death. Right? So now you're going to be able to see that in part 3. You're going to see what happened to Aerith. You're going to get all this stuff, all the best scenes. It's the definitive storytelling, man. I'm telling you. That's what it's going to be. And they're not going to be like, anyways, go play Dirge of Cerberus for the like an inaccessible game because you can't really buy it. PS2s aren't like on the shelves at Walmart right now, So I think it's the best way to do it, man. It's a cohesive shut and close, and then we can talk about Genesis too if you want. But I want to.
Okay, before we go on, I disagree.
Yeah.
That was the best scene in Crisis Core. I think.
Oh, what's your favorite scene?
Okay, well, there's me Gungaga. Yeah, that was good. That was good. I saw that. I saw that in there. No, it, weirdly, it's not that isn't a good scene. It's just that it's a bad scene, and the music is terrible, and it's so over the top.
Oh, you mean the theme song?
And everything sucked. No. So, we've talked about Crisis Core a lot. I have my issues with Crisis Core. And I know they're doing their best with it, but I actually did think that one of the things that happened with Crisis Core and Crisis Core Reunion is that the is that the syrupy nature of the ending sort of did I think it did some damage to kind of the feeling of legacy, etc. Um, and so here's what I'll say. I do think there's a chance we get to see that scene again from Revelation perspective, and I wonder if even that
Ooh.
is better. Um, I do
Oh, I
think,
see what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
I think that you know the Crisis Core reunions and Crisis Core's version of the Nibelheim incident is also really it's cool to see like Cloud and Sephiroth's interaction the real way, in
Right.
but they still have to really beat that in Revelation. Like that is so important. That's like the emotional highlight
Yes.
of Final Fantasy VII is that scene.
I I I agree. I agree completely with what you're
Yeah,
saying. So
yeah,
yes, I want to see Crisis Core's ending better.
yeah.
Is what you're saying, right? Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I want to see it in the Revelation engine redone, not just show us the CG.
I
Yes,
will actually
and
say
I
though,
also
I will say
yeah.
though that there is actually a scene in Crisis Core that I really like, and
What is it?
it's like, was it good? When
Oh yeah, Genesis.
Genesis, there was something so
Yeah,
tender about that. It was like kind of, it was like getting to see the end of that story arc really,
yeah.
really come to fruition. And it also was a glimpse at what that story arc probably was supposed to have been. Like, and
Right.
then, yeah, I mean, it also shined a big light on some of its failings, but still, like, that was, like not the death of but the end of a revolutionary's story arc, like,
Yeah.
and it was sad to see that, like, the actual execution all the way up until that point wasn't good, but the execution of that itself was fantastic. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you just nailed it on the head. I think the biggest enemy of Crisis Core is the PSP. Like they had some such cool concept. Like I think Genesis is such a cool idea for a character. I love the idea of this guy who's like always, you know, pontificating and is obsessed with essentially mythology, and they're all like rolling their eyes like, okay. But the problem is the PSP. There's like 10 scenes in the game. You know, I'm exaggerating here.
yeah.
So every time he speaks, he has to quote Loveless, and you're like, okay, this is a bit much for reality's sake. But you know, it's such a cool character, and I would love to see, like I said, him in Revelation and utilized in cool ways that isn't just that. Which I think most people's problem with Crisis Core, you included, I assume, is that lack of time and depth with the characters, like, because it's so
Yeah.
quick. A lot of it's just like, oh, what? Okay, wow,
Yeah,
Angeal's gone. Wait, what?
but the game
Yeah.
can be like 1,000 hours to beat because of the mission structure. So a lot of it
Yes.
is just, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it is just the way that it was presented. But this is a
Yes.
good chance to segue into your Genesis point.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, I think Genesis, again, he's such a cool character, and we have to think about what's his function in the story. Why was he added originally?
Yeah,
Is like, you know, beyond a bad guy or whatever for Zack to fight, is to humanize Sephiroth, man. It's his friend. So if Genesis is, you know, this sort of like champion of the planet, or given that title by Minerva, however you want to kind of picture that, in the context of Revelation, we can have it so that Genesis, what would he do if he comes back and he said his friend is, you know, is going to become, is approaching godhood for very bad reasons? He's probably going to approach his friend and try and reason with him. And what better way to show Sephiroth discarding the last of his humanity than seeing someone who loves him, Genesis, because his mother's got, you know, there's not a handful of people who exist anymore like this. Genesis, man, who's been there with him. If he's going to appear at all, that's probably what he would do. And I think it'd be really cool if we show him throw his humanity away, because this is what I want from Sephiroth: more characterization, more emotion. He's
yeah,
just always kind of cool. I want to see him break a little bit.
yeah.
See him throw that away. Maybe he's almost tempted by the memory of the love for his friend, but then he says, no, I got to do this now, and he destroys Genesis or something like that. I think it would be really cool. I could also see
Fuck.
Genesis. Yeah, would you like that?
Oh
Kills him.
man, that'd be so rad. Okay, and now this
Yeah.
reminds me, you were pretty close when you said that like one of the things Ever Crisis would give us was like a Masamune
Yes.
origin story. and we
Hmm.
got it. It ended up being not Wutai, but like Wutai adjacent type thing. But um,
Yeah, yeah, island nearby or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and
Hmm.
and it ended up being a Cetra weapon. You know,
Very cool.
ended up
Yeah.
being ended up actually being a Cetra, like the soul of a Cetra, and made by another soul. Anyways, um, I digress.
Yeah.
Masamune lore is weird, but the one of the things about Ever Crisis that I'm thinking of based on what you said is that there's still that opening cinematic where
Yes.
Sephiroth is like freaking out and he's like, pick up, pick
Yeah, on
up,
the
pick up,
phone.
pick up, pick up.
Yes.
And who's calling? Who's he trying to call?
Genesis.
Genesis. And so,
That
yeah,
got me so excited, man.
that was so cool. So obviously, Ever Crisis is sticking around somehow. And I have a feeling they're gonna keep it like just I think it'll get that end of service announcement like the moment Revelation comes out. But like until then, it's we're probably gonna get to see what that means, like how that
Oh
connects
yeah.
in Ever Crisis somehow.
Yeah, and like I said, like that side, right, that scene instantly made me really excited. Also lament Crisis Core, because I'm like, oh, there's so much there with this
So
relationship.
much more,
Again, like
yeah.
the people that love Sephiroth that deeply, there's only a few of them, so, and know him at all, because he's this aloof, like me and MJ call him this Achilles type figure, right? He's
Yeah.
aloof. He has to follow his destiny, and it's a very lonely destiny. So I love the idea of Genesis coming back and kind of tightening that relationship. Say, how can we throw Sephiroth's humanity away or tempt him? Is with Genesis, man, and then to have him do that, to have him destroy him, I think it'd be really cool. Or to like imprison him or something really cruel. Could be great. Maybe he always tries to talk to him or something and he denies it. But I think it'd be a cool way. That's very easy to include Genesis as well. It could be one scene, for example. Or it could be a couple, through different chapters. Maybe he fights Genesis a couple times, because now he's powered up as well from the planet. But I think that's how I would use him, because Aaliyah and I talk about this a lot. The idea of showing more Sephiroth characterization and more emotion, because I think the strongest Sephiroth scene is still when he goes and sees Jenova and Nibelheim, and he's kind of looking like what's the word? Kind of loved and hopeful when he's seeing
Yeah,
his
yeah,
mother for the first time. It's
yeah.
genuinely eerie, and I think one of the best scenes in the whole saga. They nailed it in Rebirth. And I want him to have that kind of emotional turmoil. This is why I always talk about my theory of, I wouldn't call it theory, just my idea, like my Masamune one. So Jenova complete. Jenova is complete, has all her cells at the end.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Can she talk? Can she talk again? She's
Yeah.
complete. She talked to the ancients. She
Yeah.
deceived the ancients. I'm thinking she can talk again. So let's not only have her deceive the party, appear as different people, whatever, in the final dungeon. Let's have her talk to Sephiroth. And then one of two things happens. She either says, yes, my son, finally we can rule together. Or she says, who the hell are you? You're just another insect from this planet. Die. And then he's not going to take that very well.
Yeah.
Right. So there's such an interesting opportunity for that.
Yeah.
And we'll
That
see what
would be
happens.
so awesome. I think that, dude,
Yeah.
you're freaking me out. Okay, so if we get a chance to like really solve that issue, if it uses this story as a chance
Yes.
to like answer that, it's the one of many age old questions, right? Like who's really in charge, who's really responsible. If you pit those
Yeah.
two wills against each other,
Yes.
now, and you're kind of forcing my hand here. So okay, I have been sitting on this for a little bit, but there's been in the previous chats we've been talking about the fact that in Magic the Gathering there was a hint about
Ooh.
part 3 when Nomura released the Sephiroth drawing for his
The
Sephiroth
artwork.
card
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
for one way,
Yeah.
for particularly for Safer Sephiroth. He said, "This is a hint I
Yeah.
can't talk about to part 3, but there's one key
He said that.
difference.
Yeah.
One key difference. He has another arm. He's complete looking. Safer Sephiroth is
Yeah.
complete looking."
He's like
And
that.
now
Yeah.
on
Hmm.
previous chats, what they said was that maybe he absorbs meteor and that's how he gets the extra power. I don't think that's it. And I've been waiting, but you kind of are forcing my hand. I think it's exactly
Yeah.
this. He confronts Genova shows his full dominance over her. This is a chance to
Yes.
finally eliminate the Sephiroth redemption arc. Like, we get to see his full backstory, all the
Yes.
things that make him human, and then he gets to choose in front of our eyes to reject it,
Yes.
using context from the future to become this full-fledged danger, right? And I think that goes
Yes.
super hard, really hard, really
Oh,
hard.
I love
And
it, dude. I
I
love it.
love
And
it.
listen, this is why it's just such a great idea, man.
Yeah.
And this is why I love it. It goes in line with what I want, which is more characterization. I want to see him break a little bit. I also would love it if, because we pretty much have confirmation now that Genova was in control at Nibelheim when he just goes like kind of blank slate, blank face, and starts like marching around in slow motion. That
Yeah.
was genuinely weird. And it looked like when he saw Cloud, he came back for a second and smirked at him, but then he has to let go. It's really cool. So
That is
I love
cool.
the idea. Yeah, I love the idea of him taking it back and then at the end being like, no, no, I'm in control,
Yeah.
mother. That would be so terrifying.
Yeah.
And it would solidify him as the coolest villain or the strongest villain ever. He's overpowering, controlling this cosmic Cthulhian nightmare entity
Yeah.
and just be like, no, no, no. Oh, you thought we're in this together. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Or, if you don't agree with me, mother, then I'm gonna do what I want. So I think that would be great. And then to have the final Sephiroth battle, because even in Advent Children, he says all these cool things like we're gonna sail around and rule the cosmos, but we don't see it. So I would love to see him realize that full power, like whether it's some sort of final fusion or whatever you were hinting at. Super cool idea. And then we defeat him, and it's
Yeah.
a really hard battle. It's a super hard struggle. Everybody
Yeah.
comes back to fight. Maybe even Genesis, whoever, and then it's just yeah, and then he instantly kills him for a second time. No, no, no.
Yeah.
And it would be so cool. So yeah, that's genuinely what I want for the ending. Is there's one shot in the OG of Sephiroth when you kill him.
Yeah.
And he looks so shocked
Shocked,
that
surprised.
he lost.
Yeah.
The blood's like he
Yeah.
cannot imagine that he lost because he's like, I'm in Cloud's head. I know this is his weakness. I broke
Yeah.
him at the Northern Crater.
Yeah.
I got it. And then Cloud does Omni Slash and kill it, and he can't believe it.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that explored. I want great dialogue. I want him to kind of know he's defeated and give us a second and have Cloud have his big heroic victory.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
And we've talked about that too on the Nico B stream, and one of the things
Yeah.
Nico B, Jordan, and Prof Noctis, not to diminish anybody, but Nico B came up with the question. That's why I'm saying it. It's not the Nico B stream,
Mm-hmm.
Night Elias and Prof Noctis. It's our stream. Okay, but what would you want? How would you want him to die? Would you want it to be a sad death, or do you want him to kick and scream? And I want him to be genuinely clawing and screaming, upset that he finally will be a memory. Like I will never be a memory to be a thing that he loses at. I want him to be, I guess I'm gonna be a memory. I want him to just fight that, just kicking and screaming.
Yeah. And this comes back to my include Advent Children idea. So imagine Cloud says, "Stay where you belong in my memories."
Yeah.
He says in his final, like you've defeated him, but he's kicking and screaming like, "I will never be a memory." He thinks he's got it, thinks he's kind of turning it around, and then we beat him again somehow, and he can't believe it because this would be canon, this would be faithful because of that look on his face in the original. Have him shocked, and then maybe if you want to have him go out cool, have him kicking and screaming and shocked, and then if maybe he looks at Cloud and says like, "I'm glad it was you," or something. And then he dies because Cloud killed him before,
Yeah.
And he has that beautiful sort of bromance with him because of that. He's obsessed with him because he killed him, and no one ever could. No one could ever defeat him.
Yeah.
So I think it's so cool, man. And our two ideas have a really nice sort of synchronicity.
Synergy. Yeah.
Really nice synergy,
I like
man.
it. I
love it. Yeah.
Night Sky Prince in chat asked really quick, how do you guys think Revelation will connect with Versus 13?
It's
Sexually.
going to be versus 13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it's going to be versus
Biblically.
13. Yeah. Just like Advent Children. The whole story is going to happen in one chapter of Revelation. And then Sephiroth wakes up and says like, that was crazy. Anyways, now that we got that out of the way.
Okay. I do want to take this time
speaking
to, okay, before you speaking of, hold on, you're speaking of, I do want to say to chat. Okay. So we have a thing going. If we get 10 super chats, we will do a Q&A session at the end of this that that Phil will answer in an FF character voice of his choice. Right? So he might answer as Dio, it
Okay.
might be Hojo, it might be Vincent Valentine, but he will answer that question specifically in one of his great voices. Okay, so get your super
Awesome.
chats ready, um, and then we can kind of move on to the next question, which is we're an hour in. I try and keep these to 2 hours. Sometimes we go over, but I know we're both busy people. So I will
Yeah.
ask. So we'll kind of get into. So we're gonna get into the meat of it, right? So we kind of agree on that this is going to be the bow on Final Fantasy
Oh
VII as
yeah.
a project. We agree
I
on
really
that.
want it to be.
I want it to
Yes.
be too. So I have to ask this at everyone because it's a big question. It's a big question. Aerith and Zack. Should they
Oh yeah.
have a different fate? Should they have be together in the life stream and like have their own kind of happy afterlife together? Should one of them survive? Should both of them fade into absolute nothingness? What are your thoughts on this?
So I love the idea, and this gets into a little bit of my gameplay thought the other day of Zack and Aerith. Aerith eventually being in Zack's party in his gameplay sections, which is awesome because we get to play as Aerith again. We can have outfits for Aerith and Zack, like the fit system. That'd be really fun, and skins and stuff. You get Aerith's final weapon, her final limit break. It would be great. Or you hold that off to the last scene if you want Aerith to come back. It's a little tough because she already fought and did that in Rebirth, like came back out and fought Sephiroth for a second. So you kind of already done that. But yeah, I would say that's a great way to include them. As far as their fate at the end, I would say I really love the story of the original. Am I open to the possibility of some slight changes? Of course, like if it's well told. Um, I do think this is, though, like I said, the definitive FF7 story where you can play this from start to finish, never have to touch anything else, and it's the full story. So, what does that mean? Let's talk about the main character, the protagonist of FF7, Cloud's journey. What is Advent Children? It's him being absolved of his guilt and moving on and realizing it's okay. It's not his fault. He was controlled by Sephiroth when he attacked Aerith, when he couldn't save her, and all these things, right? So, if we think about that function, this is the whole story. It kind of has to tie it up in a similar way. I love the expanded scene idea. I love, but you have to look at it. What's the final scene of Aerith? Is the end of Advent Children, where she goes with Zack into the live stream and she says, like, it's all right. You're going to be okay. You're not alone. So I love this idea of them doing that in some way eventually. You can expand on that significantly. Wow, that's a big super chat.
Wow,
Shout out to
thank
Duck.
you. Wow.
I'll continue in a second. Yeah. But let me finish my thought and then we'll check it
Yeah.
out. But I love the idea of them expanding on that. I would love it. Like you mentioned, maybe the idea of people coming back and stuff. What you could do is tease the idea that one of them can come back, but then the idea of the worlds dissipating and them being subsumed and going away. What if there's a chance that Aerith and Zack could like rejoin this world, but then both of them at the end are like, no, we have to stay in the live stream to do some function. Like maybe it's to stop Meteor, maybe it's to save
Mm-hmm.
everybody, maybe it's to do whatever. Like, and because she's an ancient, only she can do that. She can actually command. Like we talked about all that, all those prescient voices, the whispers, the cries of the planet from the original. Like she can do that. She can summon her ancestors. Whether we see the Cetra like come back or something, that'd be so cool to help. But maybe they have an opportunity to go back, but then they decide, no, we're not going to. And then it keeps that whole kind of bittersweet, what could have been ideology, gives us the full story and, Cloud's character arc, which I think is the most important, I would say, in the story. Like when we look at Lord of the Rings, Frodo, Aragorn, all these characters, like if you remade it and changed the kind of end of their arc, I don't think it would stick with the spirit of it. So I would love to see that. And you can expand them a lot within that. You can have them, you can have Aerith and Zack playable. You can do so many cool things. And I think one of the things that makes Aerith one of the coolest characters and one of the most memorable characters in gaming history is not only her powers, not only all the cool stuff she does, not her personality, but her function in the story. That's why we remember her. So like to completely change it, just like if you change this, oh yeah, Cloud just like remembers everything. It's a different, we changed it. well, you remember Cloud because he has the coolest story. So I think it would be really nice to stick to that. We already had such great expansions of Aerith's character in Rebirth. I think it was really her game, and they were really smart to do that, to give us that amazing chapter 13, 14, kind of bittersweet goodbye with her. So good. And with Zack, yes, let's do a similar thing. We see Zack and Aerith's true death, what happened to them, whether it's at Northern Crater, at the after the live stream sequence when he remembers. Let's face this. Let's face the reality. It's gonna hurt, but we got to watch this together. It's like, Tifa's gonna turn on the TV down there in the live stream. You got to face this, man. I'm here. It's gonna hurt, but this is what happened to Aerith. Like, that's gonna be so good. This is what happened to Zack. He's not, he didn't get washed down the river. And oh man, it's going to be so good. So I think that's my basic thoughts on it. Do I think they're going to come back? No. Could I see it happening in an FF10-2 sort of way? Yeah. I do think it might kind of change the story in ways that wouldn't make them as memorable, but I could see them doing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
My preference is no, though. Yeah, don't bring it back.
I mean, I hear you, and I sort of agree. I do feel like it's so impossible. I think this is the one thing that there was never any way for them to really do it.
Yeah.
Or at least that I've thought
Totally.
of. I would love to be surprised, and like what you're describing, like about, the potential ways that their live stream spirits or, could interact with the plot. Because obviously we know that Zack has expanded role in this game, that we play as him more, right? And
that's exciting.
And that's exciting. There's not a good way, I feel like, that doesn't really cut into, kind of the sublime and dark nature of the loss in the OG, where that ship is but
yeah, I agree.
But at the same time, that ship's now sailed. I really do think that ship has sailed. We can't do that anymore. As soon as we got whatever the fuck is happening, in with the live stream worlds, we made death have this different connotation. And even though there were hints of that, they were presented in a way that made life and death so disconnected from each other that the living still had to really, really suffer a lot more. And we had to hold on to that suffering with them, right? And so that said, that wall that is thinner now. And so since that ship is already sailed, I do want it to meaningfully pay off. And I don't know if that's
totally.
I don't know if that's going to pay off as just like, this is the developers having a conversation with their audience about the nature of nostalgia, about the nature of the characters that they love, of the people that they loved and lost. We don't understand what that is, in that sense, or if the payoff's going to be something different, like, do we get something that's, definitively alters these characters' fates? And I think that's unlikely, but I'm now really 50-50 on whether or not I want it. And that's simply because of everything that happened in Rebirth. So the only thing that I will, I'll agree with you in that I'll take anything that's well executed. I'll take anything that really lands, but I will say that I'm dead on 50-50 on character fates being different. One thing I am against, though, is this idea that they introduced, Destiny as this thing, this movable target, or, that the lesson somehow is that fate can't be changed, or that, death is inevitable. I don't think that lesson needed to be recontextualized in any way in the game. I think that recontextualizing that message is too ham-fisted, and we've talked about that, like the show don't tell stuff. And
well, I will say, like, the ending of Rebirth really, really set up, like, they teed up just like the ultimate pitch, if you want to say, like, baseball or whatever. Like, the ultimate shot. Like, and they have to do a certain thing now to make it a home run, right? Like, and they can. Like, if they do essentially what we were talking about, if they show, like, you know, Cloud is right now for the first 6 hours of this game just marching on in his completely delusional state, like, yeah, everything's great. Aerith is just waiting, doing her thing over there, and we're gonna like, it's gonna be amazing if they use that to crush him. Sephiroth says, like, I told you, and this is the first line, one of the first lines he says to him in Remake. He's like, you can't save anyone, not even yourself. You thought you could save Aerith?
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good and so heart-wrenching, and I can't wait for Cody's performance. I know it is going to be jaw-dropping. I think Cody is going to shine in this game in ways he's not been allowed to because Cloud hasn't gone there yet. It is going to be so good. But yeah, I think that what they've done in Rebirth, for what we just talked about for Aerith and Zack, they've set up such cool things. And this is the perfect example of like stuff that was changed or expanded. They've teed it up so well. They got to cash in on that, and that's they have to now. And then if they do it right, it is the ultimate definitive version of the story. You don't have to play OG. You can and you should, but like, you don't have to play OG to understand what's happening and get what went down. I do hope they explain it. And then of course the live stream world's kind of collapsing and everything that has to pay off, like you said, very well for it to be justified that we did it at all. And I think you know, beyond like having the Aerith dream date and stuff, which was just such a good, like, bittersweet goodbye, like I said, to have that beyond just a cool scene, I guess, and like more time with Aerith. And I think that this is one of the most beautiful scenes where she pushes him down to the thing and you see Sephiroth walk into the church, which begs the question, are we going to see what happened there when he walked in? But yes, I think it's just I think it has the option to be so amazing if they execute. They seem very confident. This is why I love Hamaguchi. He's like, no man, we're good. We're going to reveal everything in this game. You will know everything, all the mysteries we set up. He came out and said it, man. That's a pretty confident stance. So that tells me they're not just going to be like, I don't know, you tell me what happened with the live stream world. So I am excited for how he's been acting in interviews is just so comforting. Like, he seems to be totally comfortable, man. He's like, yeah, well, no, just wait, just play it because it's good.
Yeah,
So
and he seems almost like terminally online too. Like, I don't know how he has time.
He does.
To like,
no idea. Yeah.
To both make this game, and this game is clearly a huge game. I don't understand what the size of this game is going to be, but it's going to be screwed up. I know that it's going to be Dude. Hell. Yeah.
Yes, it's huge. I think this is going to be the best Final Fantasy game. Like, I think this is going to be in the conversation for best Final Fantasy game, right up there with 10, with 10. OG 7, with you don't like 10, but yeah. Hey, nice guy Princess in chat. I know he likes 10.
I know. Okay, I like 10. I like 10. I love 10.
Yeah,
I love 10. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, good.
I just think that I think there are a few elements of it that I think are lionized by history. Okay, that said, okay, so I agree with everything you're saying, and there's a ton of hype around that. What is something that you are like, you know, given that where this game starts,
yep,
and where we clearly need to go through, we're going through everything but Bone Village, which, you know, again, I don't care.
If anyone mourns Bone Village, man, I'm coming and you know,
it's a very specific person.
Yeah.
It's a very specific type of person. Like that doesn't like,
for the sake of being a purist. Yeah, like what? Like, it's a one JPEG screen where like you do a little thing and stuff. Yeah,
it feels a little bad faith. Okay, I will say though. Okay, so from that, what are you most looking forward to? Like, what scene do you know will be there? Are you most looking forward to?
Well, the one that he's confirmed is, of course, the live stream scene. He said it makes him cry. It's like the best thing. And he said this actually months ago before Revelation 2 that like, oh, we nailed the live stream scene, man. I mean, he knows it's like the most famous scene in RPG history. Like, he's good to talk about it like that. I think he's wise to talk about it like that. But yeah, I think that alone is going to be the best. It has the opportunity, if they nail that, you know, main theme crescendo hitting as he throws Sephiroth, you know, off of the sword that stabbed him. Like, it's just one of the best scenes ever. And then you realize that when he takes the helmet off, oh my gosh, it's Cloud. Like, come on. It's just chills, man. I got chills thinking about that memory as a kid playing
Yeah.
that. So I think that's going to be great. The whole live stream sequence, that being like the climax of all the mystery being revealed. And this is why it's so good. Like FF7 is a mystery for a big portion of it. That's why the story is so strong. But to have that be the climax of like, we're on that journey with Tifa. She's like, going through all the clouds floating the live stream. It's so cool to be in the mystery. And then that being the climax, I think it's going to be fantastic. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the expansion of that, the gameplay of that. I think we're going to be like walking through Nibelheim. So I think it's going to be really cool. And to get that recontextualization and that kind of new view at it. We've also seen they were so smart to put in Chapter 9 Gongaga, which I think most people agree is like the strongest part of Rebirth, or one of the strongest parts, and all new stuff. Is Tifa gets a little training and how that works, right? So it's like, okay, we can kind of view past memories and everything. So now there's going to be a reason why she's like, let's do this. She's going to be like, wait, I know this. Okay. We can figure this out together. So I love that they're already kind of expanding on that lore. Also, I've talked about this a million times. Another famous scene, Cloud and Tifa under the high wind. But I think we need every character. Not under the high wind. That's a bit crazy, but I think I want to see what they're all doing. Night, like Barrett and Marlene. It's going to be the ending of everybody's character arc, essentially, because then it's just full on like life or death mission to take down Sephiroth. There's not a lot of like, let's reflect on our past. So to see Barrett, like what's he going to do that night? He's going to go see Marlene, man. His final night with her, possibly. I got to go fight and see if I can save the world. It might die. That's going to be an emotional. It's going to be like the trials from Rebirth all over again, right? And then we see Sid go to Shara and apologize and like have this amazing, okay, I was too cruel, you saved me, like all these cool things. Nanaki goes and Bugenhagen dies. Wow, another super chat. Incredible. Thank you, Mastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're going to read through all these.
Yeah, we are.
Definitely reading through all these.
Keep going.
And then, we have Nanaki go to see Bugenhagen and he passes away. And it's like, wow, another end of an
Yeah.
era. We have Yuffie goes to, I don't know, maybe he's going to be your dad this time. There's a lot we don't know with Yuffie. But yeah, Yuffie goes and does something. Who am I forgetting? Barrett, we mentioned. Vincent. Vincent's going to do something. Maybe something with Lucrezia. Maybe he's going to go visit her rock, her crystal. And there's so much there. And then, of course, Cloud and Tifa. And you can do all of this with Nobuo Uematsu's, obviously thinking about After Distant Worlds. His third song plays during this moment. Everybody's emotional climax. Everybody's so tragically visiting their loved ones for the last time. Cloud and Tifa are like, we're probably gonna not make it. Like, it's such a good scene. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, man. Those are pretty much like scenes right before and after each other. So I'll say just that whole section, man. I think it's gonna be like the emotional sort of climax of the entire story. And then after that is like, all right, lock in. It's life or death. We got to kill this guy or the planet is destroyed. Let's go. And it's going to be so great.
That sounds
no
awesome.
more loose ends.
I forgot.
Right? So I would say that's mine.
I forgot. I mean, that was a bunch of things, but I forgot Bugenhagen dying is going to fuck me up. That's going to fuck me up big time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I obviously love the live stream sequence. I think it's like hugely important.
Yeah.
And like the hardest scene. And then
yes.
also, under the high wind, having, everybody there is a hilarious visual. So I'm just going to assume that that's what's going to happen. That's like the bad end. That's like the bad ending, or not the bad ending, but the bad optional scene.
Yeah, you didn't do enough side quests.
What are they going to do though about pacing? Right. So that's a legitimate concern with the live stream sequence for me is we can surmise that it happens in the first third of this game instead of the final 3/4.
Yeah.
And so
totally.
It's a really good really good climax to a 40-hour game. It is a strange first third climax. And how do they deal with that? Now we know that that there was that recent interview that I think you kind of mentioned that where Hamaguchi said that he was crying because he's played through the scene 40 times. He doesn't, and we
cried
assume
40 times, baby.
And it's with him it's with
Yeah.
Cloud realizing the truth about Cloud and Aerith. And I mean, first of all,
Yeah.
Jesus, bro,
Woo,
chill
gonna hit
out a
hard.
little bit with the spoilers.
Uh,
Second of all,
yeah.
we assume that's part of the live stream sequence, or that is a thing that people have assumed. I actually, when I read that, I wasn't sure when
It
that
might be
actually
after. Yeah.
happens. It might happen in some other thing. So, do we think
Yeah.
the live stream sequence is something that gets reminisced upon? Like maybe we. I've heard this as a possibility. Like maybe we get Cloud back and he's different, and then throughout the game we get like flashes of what happened there, so that it changes the pacing. And
Mm.
is that's dubious sounding to me? Obviously, like
Sounds dubious to me. Yeah. Just
yeah,
for the kind of impact of it, it would be lessened. Yeah. But it's
yeah.
possible
But
for sure.
I
I
mean,
mean, I think from what I just said, like those scenes will not happen close to each other in Revelation. Like it will be live stream sequence, and then a bunch of stuff happens, and like then right before the final chapter, you have like the kind of night before under the high
right.
wind, and oh, they should include Aerith and Zach in that too. I think that'd be amazing. But yes, I think that's will happen, and yeah, they have to spread it out. You're absolutely right because it's not a 40-hour game. It's we're 200 hours into an epic at this point. So yeah.
To me, okay, and I love all of it. I love all of the live stream
Mm-hmm.
sequence. And
Yeah.
obviously Tifa helping Cloud, that's a big part of it. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
feelings
Yeah.
whenever you talk about the way two characters interact. But if I'm just going to be legitimate, it's the part that we've both talked about the most already in the show, which is the truth about
Yes.
Cloud being the one that defeated Sephiroth, right? Like 16-year-old,
Yes.
ungenovaed, unmakoed Cloud, just little 16-year-old human bodying Superman, bodying
Juiced
Homelander,
up.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
and that being such a thrill ride. That's already a little bit spoiled in Crisis Core Reunion, which they were really adamant that we played. It would kind of be a bummer for that to like happen in the first third for me. To me, I want to see that still
Mm-hmm.
as part of like the kind of midpoint of the game. But at the same point, I also want to see what real Cloud is like. Because one of the things that's been
Yes.
said by developers is that this game is an opportunity to clear up misconceptions that people have had about the story, right?
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of those is the characterization of Sephiroth, and that's a
Yes.
big deal. Like, um, you know, the characterization of Sephiroth and the characterization of Cloud is the biggest one for me because even Final
Totally.
Fantasy
Totally.
VII Advent Children leaned into this a little bit. Like, you talk to a casual about who Cloud is, and he's an emo asshole, but that is really
Yep.
not what Cloud is. And it's
Far from the
also
truth. Yeah.
sort of I like, and I know this is a broader point, but it's like if you look at discourse about purists versus people that are pro remake, pro
Yeah.
7R, if you really examine what they thought Final Fantasy VII was about, you'd be surprised at how disconnected it is from Cloud's identity. Like the top hater,
Yes.
the top haters of Final Fantasy VII. And there's one in particular we all know he is. Um, uh, Live stream sequence in Cloud's identity, finding out that the gentle Cloud was the real Cloud, not even on his top 10 list of things that he liked about the game or even acknowledged about it. A lot of people turned off their brain after Aerith died, and then it was just about defeating Sephiroth. Like, and they didn't. A lot of people
Apparently.
genuinely missed, that
Yeah.
that final. And so, this is an opportunity for us to see what the real Cloud is. And so, if we have to
Yeah.
wait for the last third of the game, there is a problem with that. So I do like the idea in terms of the live stream sequence of us getting that early and spending more time with that Cloud. I kind of like that.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you got to look at the entire remake game. The first one is Cloud kind of jerk
Yeah.
And at the end, they did a really awesome. I mean, one of the best expansions and changes or additions, I want to say, is Barrett and Cloud's friendship, right? And this is why I'll defend the Dine scene. Like anybody who has problems with it, and the stuff that was gained with Cloud and Barrett's friendship, the whole like I'm here for you, man, is worth, you know, is worth more than anything that they say was lost. I think it was a great sequence in Rebirth. I think it was perfect. But yes, I think that whole thing is amazing. And I think Cloud, Cody, this is what I said earlier. His performance is going to shine
Yeah.
so much in this game
And I
because
feel
of
like
that. He's
we
very good at subtle shifts.
yeah, and
Yeah,
I
if you
feel like
look if you look at the Nibelheim, right?
exactly, like Cody
Yeah,
plays Zach in that. It's so good.
yeah,
Um, but
perfectly. Yeah,
there's even a line delivery in the trailer that sounds like, oh, that's the real Cloud. Where I heard it, I'm like, my heart skipped a
yes,
beat, and it's when he's talking to the
yeah.
flowers. Like my heart skipped a
That's what I
beat.
said.
Yeah,
Yeah, so exciting, and there's a little bit less
yeah,
coldness to it. There's a little bit of tenderness and acceptance, and he's saying, I'm gonna do this for you guys. I'm paraphrasing. I'm gonna do this for you guys. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna keep going, and it's like it got me so excited for that because
yeah,
Cody is so good at those little shifts. Like I said, even with Barrett, the little sarcasm turning to like sarcastic friendship. Sarcasm versus like I'm a jerk in the beginning at the Mako reactor. There's these little tweaks he's so good at. And I think he's going to shine because not even talking about, I mean, the mental breakdown at the Northern Crater is going to be insane. And I mean, Aerith's actual death scene that we see in Cloud giving the monologue about her laughing and crying, like we're going to see that. I think Cody is going to shine, and we are in for an emotional roller coaster. The new pacing allows for new taking their time with
yeah,
more stuff, like
yeah,
that live stream sequence can include more. I was going to say this earlier. I think they should have a full chapter of Sephiroth's backstory where we play as young Sephiroth, Ever Crisis model, and we see his main story beats. Not all the stuff, not all of
damn,
it, but like I want to see it. So then at the ending, it hits harder. Everything that he's like I said, if he's throwing
wow,
away his humanity, I want this to be the definitive game. So we need to see a little bit, even if it's just a scene. We don't have to have a full chapter. He's thinking or whatever, sitting up on his throne in the crater, which I love the throne. That's like the coolest edition. Very versus 13. I will say I love it. Nomorian. But yes, I think we need that to then figure out what's going on. And if they do include Genesis, you need to show some sort of backstory or like, who the heck is this guy if you're a new player? So, yes.
I love it.
Now we're talking.
And I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of this has kind of ruined this question for me because I had it written down, but um,
Hmm.
because you've come up with so many, and this is what I always love about talking with you, Phil. Is there's a lot of just like you have some of my favorite what if things that feel really grounded and possible, and we get to see them. A lot of them come to fruition because they're not so out there that they can't happen. Um,
Thank
but
you, man. Same with you.
what in your okay, so you've mentioned several already, but I asked
Hmm.
what the thing you're most excited to see that we know is going to be there. What are you
Yeah.
most excited for that might be there? Given like
Ooh.
potential lore things, we got weird shit going on with materia. We've got,
Yeah,
Zach
yeah,
and
yeah.
Cloud and the Earth. We've got some weird event that Hamaguchi is super confident will be a good intro to the game that leads us to getting the high wind, etc. And we know that we have a high
Yeah.
wind that doesn't have Cloud in it. Like we know Cloud's not part of that, right? So
Yeah.
what kind of things are you excited for that
I would
you
say
don't know are in the game?
I would say Rufus and the Turks. Particularly
Ooh.
Rufus's end. I am so excited for. We touched on this sort of political
Oh
intrigue with
yeah.
Wutai, but I want to see Rufus and like I want to see him kind of a sort of like coming to moment as he dies, which is unspoken in the original, which is a great scene, one of the best scenes where he just kind of stares out and realizes he's gonna bite it.
Yeah.
If we don't factor in having children, I would love to see him kind of realize him inheriting his father's legacy and kind of selfishly driving the machine towards whatever he wants. Like there are consequences for this, even though he is a pretty smart guy and he's got his hands in a lot of different pots, right? And he's a very different guy than his father. I want to see that character explored. I really want to, like I said, just with Sephiroth, these are such cool characters that why are we talking about them so many years later? Because they're inspiring, because there's so much layers. I want to see Rufus really unpacked in that finale sequence of the parachuting down. Same thing with Heidegger, same thing with Scarlet. I want to make sure they have really cool climaxes and endings. But yeah, Rufus, man, in the Turks. Again, talk about including Advent Children. Let's have the Turks, particularly Reno and Rude, go through that kind of friendship arc a little bit deeper, a la Advent Children with some less slapstick. Let's have that happen in there. Let's have, I believe there's a scene that happens in one of the novels of Reno and Rude kind of think they're going to die when Meteor drops. Right. Let's show these cool moments, or let's show that, like in my earlier idea, the
Yeah.
night before, Under the High Wind. Let's include everybody, man. Have Nobuo Uematsu's song banging, in the vein of something like Suteki Dane, a little bit more emotional, a little bit more tragic. I really want to key into the tragic there, and let's show Renu and Rude. Let's show Rufus like kind of questioning what he's done, and have this pre-rendered go crazy. But you know me and my cinematics. But yeah, I think that would be awesome. More Rufus, and they said they're gonna do this with Glenn. They're gonna show what happened between him and Glenn definitively in this. So I'm excited for that. It might tie into what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, obviously, and I'm not sure if you followed all the Ever Crisis stuff where we kind of figured out how, like we knew from Rebirth that clearly Glenn was murdered by Rufus, but we got a little bit more context to that in Ever Crisis. And so, the triple cross, I agree. Rufus is really, and the Turfs are going to be really, they're clearly like beloved characters from the fandom, but they're also like, there's been a lot of effort, particularly by Nojima, given to them. Like a lot of backstory has been given to them. So I do want that to come to fruition, but it starts to feel after a while like, are we putting too much? Is this a thing that can actually, like, how do they wrap up all this stuff? It's crazy. Yeah.
It's a lot. It is. And I think a lot of it is going to be just, in those awesome new game, or I should say old gameplay segments expanded. Like if we're going to have the war with Diamond Weapon and everything, and Wutai climax there, like maybe Wutai strikes Midgar at that moment. Like I said, I think it would be awesome to bring out Deep Ground, bring out everybody, and then, have Rufus leading from the tower or whatever he's doing would be so strong. And then we should fight Rufus one more time. That would be awesome right before his death. And then maybe we escape as the missiles come in from Diamond or whatever. But yeah, man, we'll see. I think like the Turks are they're beloved for a reason. They're cool. They're iconic characters, as in you don't know too much about them. They do cool stuff, so you like them. But I would love to see them unpack just a little bit more character. And like I said, less slapstick in those moments, like in those ending moments where they think they're going to perish and stuff. Let's have it get a little serious. Because the gag with Rude is like one of the best gags in FF history. The endless sunglasses that he keeps whipping out is great because he needs to look cool. But let's have it get serious for a second. So I don't know. And even Elena, like she's a cool character. She'll be in Wutai, I'm sure, but it's gonna be great.
Yeah, how the Turks interact with that's gonna be fascinating. And also like you said, there's an opportunity for it to kind of lose its tonal sort of thing. Like it's going to be, I know a lot of the discourse has been about sort of the unserious nature of Rebirth and how silly it is, and how it's not the grimdark Final Fantasy VII that people misremember.
Yeah, play the original.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's one of the goofiest games ever.
I know.
What are you saying? Yeah.
But even if you do feel that way, like there's no way Rebirth is going to have that kind of tone, or Revelation's going to have that kind of tone. Like there's a giant meteor in the sky the whole time. Like
it's going to be Majora's Mask by the end, man. Like you got to realize when we saw Tifa look out the window, that's chapter 2 or 3 at the latest, because it's Cloud gets whatever at the north, and then she wakes up. Like that's it, man. And then it's gonna get closer every chapter. That's why it's cool that it's not day-night cycle. It's like chapter based. So it's gonna get sunset. It's gonna be nighttime. It's gonna be just this horrible. They actually show it in one of the shots, like a meteor hanging over Midgar, and it looks ominous, man. So yeah, when you think about it as a trilogy, if you go back to Rebirth, it's kind of cool to think that as this a little bit more whimsical, not too much, a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more like, yeah, we're going after Sephiroth. It's like a hunt. We're gonna go get him. But then it goes sideways, man. Like Cloud loses his mind. There's a meteor gonna destroy the Earth. Like just the story beats themselves. There's not as
Yeah.
much comedy. Like I'm sure they'll inject some because they'll make the whole thing just depressing downright. Have some levity in there, and it still exists in the later chapters. But for example, like Let's Mosey,
Yeah.
iconic comedic moment. It's like
Yeah.
Let's Mosey. Pause.
Yeah.
Bro, really? You couldn't say something cooler than that? Like,
And
it's gonna be great. So I think,
and it's got to be in there.
yeah.
They can't have Let's Mosey. They can't not have that. Like that's got to be there. So
It's
like
gotta be, man.
that's so much
Iconic
pressure.
line. Yeah.
That's so much pressure for him to like. Cloud has to blow that so horrendously.
Yeah, it's got to be cool war speech, and then
Uh-huh.
like the music's building up, and then he's like, anyway, like so now that we know
Yeah.
this, let's Mosey.
Yeah.
The music stops, and then Sid's like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. But yeah, I think just by the nature of it, man. Like Revelation is going to be a dark story. Literally, like Tifa wakes up and they're gonna be like, "Anyways, we're gonna shoot you guys on live TV. Good luck." Like it's a crazy story. Like it's just in the
Yeah.
reality of what's happening.
Yeah, it's no
It's
joke.
insane.
Yeah, and like that brings me to sort of my answer to this question, which is that
Yeah.
there's something that really excited me when I read it, and it was that Sephiroth and Cloud would have an interesting team up again.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I think I think that what that's really saying it ties in to the opening chapter, and I think we're finally gonna
Yep.
get it. I think we're finally going to get the boss fight against Cloud.
Oh.
And
this is one of your ideas, right?
I love
one of your
this.
OG ideas.
I love this so much. I
Yeah.
love the idea of us,
Yep.
and I even like the idea that maybe we retain control of Sephiroth and Cloud during that instead of the party. Although it would be a good,
That would be so good.
it would be a good way for us to gain control of Tifa for that portion. Like
True. Yeah.
is
Yeah,
and
I mean, think Clive fighting Jill in like the opening chapter. I think it's one of the strongest scenes in the game. It's like this tragic music playing. This is so good. Imagine that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
With like Tifa being like, why do we have to fight him? What is he doing? It would be so good.
So there's
and they feel guilty about what happened to him. Oh,
and there was all this stuff leading up to. Do you remember? Okay, remember 20 years ago when First Soldier was out, and I
do. I played it a couple times. It was a good time.
I love First Soldier. I love playing it. I miss it every day, and then it went then it went away because it was a first person shooter game in a crowded JRPG space. But one of the weird things they did was they had this bizarre dark Cloud fight, and it was the first time there was like an event, and this like shadow version of Cloud came out, and he had a single red eye. It was a big deal. And I feel
Amazing.
like
I
they've
did not remember this. I did not do that.
I feel like they've been alluding
Yeah.
to this for a while. Like, everything about Cloud's fall from sanity has been amplified too. Like,
Yeah. I really think what you're saying is going to be tied into that line. Let's test your faith, Cloud. When he's like, let's see, like, because I am essentially like your God in this sense.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be awesome. And I think it's perfect because from what you said, man, imagine we do that. We fight Cloud and then, beat him, or he beats us maybe, and then takes oh my God, what if he beats us? Like, we win, but then in the cutscene, he beats us, takes the Black Materia, gives it to Sephiroth. That would be awesome. But then my point is, what if, Sephiroth doesn't know that Cloud regained his memories, right? So then what if at the end of the Northern Crater, he's like, join me again, Edge of Creation style. And Cloud is like, no. Like, and he has all the memories now. He has all the context. And then that's a whole different moment of victory for Cloud. That could be very cool, man. I love it.
That could be. Okay. So listen, dear super chatters, I know that it says that some of your super chats didn't count to the goal. That's because I'm an old man and I set things up wrong with my technical imbalances. That's not true. I'm pretty technical. I just didn't notice. And so we are counting that. We are two super chats away from the goal. In the interim, while we're doing that, and I'm keeping all of your questions, um, you, Philip, do you have any questions for me? And then we can both answer them.
Absolutely. I would say, what do you think about? Okay, we'll do one gameplay one, and
Okay.
then maybe a story one. So, in the gameplay aspect, I want to know from you, what do you want to see late game? We're talking in the same context you asked me, something that wasn't in the original, a late game expansion. Is it a dungeon? Is it a super boss? All those builds that Hamaguchi provided us, we've built them up. We've got them. What's some really juicy end game content? He already mentioned Knights of the Round. That would be like the coolest thing ever. And for you, would add replay value, would add value to it. Like, what's that for you?
Replay value. Okay. Um, I want. I mean, everybody's really excited about like snowboarding, more Queen's Blood.
Mm-hmm.
I do think like
Yep.
whatever is going to happen when Knights Around is going to be some like thing that's not really as optional. I'm hoping it's not as
Yeah.
checklist oriented, but it feels like it's going to be, in that vein. Um, but to me, like, how do they make the underwater work? Like we've seen the
Ooh,
sky
yeah.
underwater. Uh, how do they fix that, right? And we know there's more mini games somehow in this, and I think a lot of them are
Yeah.
going to be in Wutai, but the underwater thing is going to be really, really deal. And I think that the underwater reactor is going to be maybe a way we get to more than one. Either they're going to change it so that it's not the wrecked Gelnica, or like the wrecked Gelnica leads
Yep.
to an entrance
Mm-hmm.
to like the Benora Underground.
Oh, love it.
And that
Yes.
the
Yes.
Benora
Give us
Underground,
underwater stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Benora Underground is going to be, you know, uh, accessible via the entrance that's in like the mouth of ruined Relnica,
Yeah.
or
Love it.
Gelnica.
Okay. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10 answer. My next question
Yeah,
is, I'm asking you as a friend, as your friend. You have taken this awesome sort of role over the years as a nice sort of community leader.
yeah,
You've hosted a lot of us on your show.
yeah, yeah.
You've mediated arguments. You've been very valuable in this space. So thank you. So I want to
Oh,
ask you, not even what you think will happen because of evidence, not even because of theories that you've heard and everything. What do you, just as a fan who grew up with this
mhm.
game, who enjoyed this game when it came out, what do you want in this game? Like, what would make this, your favorite thing? Like, what would you want to have in here? Is it, you can talk about story in any context. Just you, just Clark. Like, what would make this such a nice addition to you, and not satisfying anything that you think will happen and any theory that you've heard? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want as a fan of the game that would make you very happy?
So, and I said this in brief with the Max Dude thing, but to expand on it a little bit more, Final Fantasy VII as a game
Mm-hmm.
really caused me to examine my world, our role in it,
Mm.
and things like what we're doing to the planet, things like
Mm. Yep.
what we're doing to the lower classes, how we're elevating um how we're elevating the poverty divide with things like amenity and technology to give this illusion of wellness
Yep.
when in fact we're still, you know we still have like way more distribution of space to people than is is reasonable. We still have people starving all throughout the world.
Yep.
It's really helped me examine that, and even try and help when I can. Like, um,
Yep.
so an idea that I had that I think would be really cool involves, and I swear this is this is this is the wildest swing I'm going to take, and I I don't I don't think it'll happen because it's that wild, but I would love it if it did. Supernova. When Sephiroth casts Supernova,
Mm-hmm.
there is something really kind of shocking because it names the planets. And one of
Yes.
them and it's our solar system. Like we know that it's Gaia, not Earth, but it's
Yeah.
our solar system. But it's coming towards that planet, and it's like in this
Eerie.
illusory space. And then it only
Yeah.
does 6,000 damage to you, and you survive it, and it's fine. It's kind of an underwhelming attack. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like, it takes all this time. I want it to, when Supernova is cast, I want it to destroy real Earth. Like, I want that to be canonically tied through the worlds or whatever. I want it to say
Whoa.
this was a planet that fell, to poverty and not taking care of its planet, not being good stewards. Like, I wanted to
Yeah.
show a planet that was dominated by corruption, and I dead ass want it to, like, I wanted to overcut real life footage of, like, famine and genocides
Oh,
and,
Kojima style. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Kojima style. I wanted to sort of overlay that footage so that it really sets that tone, that's how important this game is. That's how important the messaging is. I don't want it to shy away from its messaging, and so that's a
I.
wild swing, but as your friend,
That's
that's
great,
that's
man.
my answer. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's a great answer.
Okay.
And
As
yeah, I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I would love to ask the same question of you as your friend. Like,
Hmm.
ignore any
Yeah.
rationale. What's
Yeah.
something weird and wild you don't think in a million years will happen that you would like to see happen?
Yeah, I would say, like, I'm trying to remember the feelings that the original evoked, and I don't just mean like because of that scene or anything. Just the kind of the full picture feelings where, like you said, you came out of it and maybe felt a little different about something, maybe questioned, something about yourself or how you view yourself. Like think about all the sort of identity angles of this game, right, and how important it is for Sephiroth, for Cloud, for everybody. So yeah, I would say I want them to push that in the direction that those feelings still take place because now we know the story, right? So like, how can we get that again? And the whole like 500 years later and stuff. I do hope they utilize that with the messaging of the planet and everything like you just mentioned, which is fantastic. But yeah, I would say the character kind of insanity that I want to really I want to see the characters
Hmm.
just unpacked, man. I want to
Okay.
see everybody really really go deep in ways that they're probably not comfortable with as kind of stewards of these characters, like we mentioned with Sephiroth breaking down and stuff. They probably won't do it because they want his image to be a certain thing. Like they want you to play Smash Bros and be like this iconic image of Sephiroth. But man, it would make my day if they really just completely unpack him and get down to the nitty gritty. Like Cloud at Northern Crater, I want it to be just heartbreaking to watch what happens to him. I want him to just
100%.
completely break down.
Yeah.
That seems promising because of the end of Rebirth when he's like chasing Aerith with, give me the black materia. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So I want to see that. I want to see, again, Tifa just at her wit's end. Like, I've lost Aerith now, one of my close friends. I've lost Cloud, like essentially my oldest surviving friend or something close to it. Everybody has been taken away from me. I lost my dad. Like, I want to see them just at complete wits end. Like I
Yeah.
mentioned, the Under the Highwind scene. I want to key into the tragedy of it. Like obviously, a lot of people want an awesome romance there. Sure, go for it. Go full Suteki Dane. But man, I want it to be tragic. Like not this kind of this is great. Like the world's ending. I want to see all the characters just. And I mentioned Barrett and Marlene. I want to see Barrett barely holding it together as he goes and sees Marlene. He has to reassure her that it's going to be okay. but he's gonna go fight Sephiroth, like a god level power. Essentially, it's got to be so scary for him. But I want to see him be the awesome father that he is and
Yeah.
step up. You know, even if he breaks down after the scene, like that's the sort of just emotional punches I want. I want to see Sid apologize, which is indicative on is he mean to Shara in this? Are they going to have him go full mean? Which I think they will
Yeah.
in that scene. I think it's just going to be more like that's the one person who makes him angry in this version.
Yeah.
As
And it'll
opposed to
be
Sid's
like a
always swearing
system.
nonstop in the original.
It'll be like a system
Yeah.
shock to us. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, whoa, this Sid's this like kind of surly, nice Southern man. Why is
Yeah.
he being so mean all of a sudden? I think it's gonna be great. But and I don't think he was mean outside of that really in the original. It's just he barely talks, so you don't know. But yeah, I want to see just the emotional depth of everybody, and probably ways they're not quite comfortable with. But man, I want to see it like in the peak of FF level, and I think they can do it. It's just, are they comfortable going there? So that's my answer.
100%, 100%. And I mean, like one of the things that you said that I really liked is you said he was terrifying about Cloud. And I do think that that's second for things that I really want to see is that is I really want him to because like you cannot deny they have really amplified how unnerving Cloud is. Like the best scenes in Rebirth involved like Cloud had blood on his face. When he's
attacking the wall and Barrett's like,
oh yeah,
hey, man, what are we doing?
Yeah, you good?
It's really uncomfortable. And then the scene where he's like, I'm not like him. It's like, no, nobody said you were, man.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable. And I think they're going to deliver because, like I said, Cody's got the chops, man. Like, let him really go there to a scary place. And then if you think about it, like Sephiroth has molded Cloud into like Sephiroth 2.0. Like, make him scary, man. And I mean, they already had him in Gon Gaga, like murdering Shinra soldiers and stuff.
Oh,
crazy. He's in the Sephiroth's, high
Punisher stance. Yeah. Woo. And even in remake, there was like these little hints that, okay, Cloud's not right. Yeah. Like he was almost going to murder Johnny. Like Johnny almost didn't make it.
Just like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just casually. Yeah. Anyways, he talks. So
yeah,
it's even like what? We're
not
gonna kill anybody. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was great. Phil, you've been a great guest already. We're at almost 2 hours. So do you mind if we answer some of these questions? And we did make our goal. Yeah. We did make our goal. So awesome. If you want to do some character voices, you only have to do one because that was what the goal said. But we'll get you to do it. Okay. So we're going to start with Stink Duck 1360, who one of my favorite viewers and fans and just people in the community. Phil and Baby Seal, your conversations always so epic. Do you guys think there will be additional scenes for Tifa that will flesh out her arc? In fact, what are your thoughts about her story in this final part and her role? I will kind of answer this first while you decide what character you're gonna you're gonna jump into for this answer. So Tifa is in Street Fighter 6. She's gonna have an expanded role in this game. She's obviously, the live stream sequence, which has always been like where her arc comes sort of to fruition and her reality as a character comes out in the OG. In this, since that's her, like this whole story is going to be sort of like the reality of her. And there's been already enough like kind of prep work. There's been novels about her. Like the two women in the story, adult women in the story are getting a huge glow up. There's no doubt about it. Like for sure that this applies to Aerith too, but Tifa, this is like kind of her act. Right. And so, what things do I think that we'll see? I think what we're going to see a lot of for characterization from Tifa is going to involve finding out things about her character that were explicitly told in the novels, that are going to show up here so that people don't necessarily have to have had read the novels to understand this thing about Tifa's character. Like, Tifa had this whole arc that was really, really well done in the story, in Traces of Two Paths, where like she claws
Yes.
herself out of a
Yes.
life crippling injury. She's she's swindled, and then she fights back against her oppressors, including like
And then the best thing that Tifa's ever done, they have to mention this, is she spends all the money she worked for years to help Barrett and Marlene.
so
Like she
badass.
gives it away.
Yeah,
Gives it away. Like it's nothing. I'm like, yeah, she's the goat.
she is
Like
a goat.
absolutely insane.
She's a goat.
Yeah.
And so, yes, to answer, I do think that that stuff will show up. I think we're going to see. I don't think we're definitely going to get a reference to the fact that that happened. I also think we're going to
Mm-hmm.
see her do something like that. That's a echo of that characteristic of her in, in one of her side quests or in something. And I also am of the mind that every single character will get a side quest or a mini game that's specific to her. And so I'm really
Mm-hmm.
curious to them. So I'm really curious to see what Tifa's is. So I'll let you answer that question now,
Yes.
Phil. You kind of did already, but
All right. I'm gonna answer this as Sid.
okay.
And I'm going to say, I not only want to see Tifa sit down and drink her goddamn tea, but I want to see her pay that boy Sephiroth back for Nibelheim. I want her to sit down and drink that tea and then pay that boy. She raised Cloud up down in Leicester. I want to see her bring Sephiroth down with her and pay that boy back for what he did to her and Cloud's tribe down in Nibelheim.
Okay. Okay. If that is how Sid loses his mind, as like he just becomes a full Southern preacher that's had too many, um we're done. Game of the year. Game of
10
the
out of 10.
year. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Okay, great job. Okay. Do you think we'll see, this is from Joshy Poo, friend of the channel and friend of me personally. Do you think that we'll see play what Cloud is up to in the live stream before he washes up in Medeal? Great question that I've never even
That's a
considered.
great question. Yeah. Oh, you want to go first on this one?
No, you go first on this one. You don't have to do a voice
Okay.
for this one. I don't know what voice you do.
Okay. Yeah, I'll think about it. But yeah, I would say, that's a great idea. Let's see him get back there. Hey, another opportunity for my Sephiroth backstory. Stu, you could have Cloud viewing all sorts of nonsense down in the live stream, right? You could have him see stuff. What if he saw the echoes of Sephiroth's past and said, "Oh, that's what happened"? Like, could be cool. I'm just saying, if we don't need a whole chapter of Sephiroth, there's a cool way to do it. But yeah, I would love to see anything. There's so much he could see. Anything. It's a live stream. Literally, you can see anything. Anybody's life.
Yeah.
That'd be
He could
awesome.
see Titus's life. You need to meet Titus down there. Yeah.
Same world, same universe. Yes.
It would be so wild if, okay, I didn't even think of that, but you brought me there. If he saw elements of what really happened to Sephiroth and why he's so pathetic, and then he calls back to that in that final scene where it's like, you're just a sad kid. You've always been the puppet. That would be so
yeah. That's
you're
what
just
I'm saying. Like
yeah.
that's the story, and then it leads to Sephiroth's breakdown and anger. I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
You just
we need
missed
it, man.
you just missed your mom. That's why you took mine.
Yeah.
You know, but I
like
had
the
a
kind
mom,
of like
and she
I'm
loved
okay
me.
now. You're not gonna, like you're not gonna hurt me anymore. Like I'm just gonna tell you, like, yeah, my mom loved me. Like
my mom loved me
man.
before before he breaks his skull open. Yeah, that'd be crazy. But okay, so part of why I think that's interesting. So it would be a good juxtaposition to see the other half of the live stream sequence that we saw in chapter 9 of Rebirth from Cloud's POV.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, I do want to see those line up in a way that's like, doesn't feel like we're rehashing it. right? And so
Mm,
how you do that
yeah.
is hard, and I think some of it does involve adding new stuff. So okay,
Yeah.
definitely good question. Okay, and then the Max Tarot said, "Do you think that Sephiroth will defy his own destiny and free himself from Genova by killing her and absorbing her to make him even more powerful than her?" And my answer to this is we kind of answered this earlier in the chat, which is yes, I do think
Yeah, a
so.
little bit.
I think
Yep.
that's why he has two arms instead of one in the his
Yeah.
Safer Sephiroth form is more complete.
And there's a very important distinction. This is not redemption for Sephiroth. This is
Yeah.
him going even worse and being
Yeah.
like, oh wait, and they can even do, like we said earlier, the whole like, oh, I'm in control now, mother. Like you're not agreeing with what I want to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's over. And like, if I have to silence you, that's like, that's the sort of terror that we feel in the Nibelheim when he looks at her and is like embracing her. It's so creepy. That's what I want. More of that. Yes.
And we've talked about this before too, that Sephiroth and Cloud's rivalry is a callback to a very
Musashi.
ancient rivalry between. Yeah, do you want to talk about that real
Musashi
quick?
and Kojiro. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely, yeah. It's a famous, one of the most famous duels ever in history.
mhm,
Is real. Is between Musashi and Kojiro, Sasaki Kojiro. And Musashi is a real samurai. He won over 60 death matches with a wooden sword,
mhm,
for most of them, against people with real swords. And he's just an absolute legend. He created his own style using two swords, which was not typical at the time in Japan, and just this absolute monster. And his most famous duel is he was rowing to an island to meet Kojiro for their final duel to
mhm.
the death, on this particular island. And on the way, he carved an oar into a sword. This is significant. This is where Cloud's sword comes from, like the big wide oar
Mhm.
shape of his sword. And Kojiro was using a Japanese longsword, like,
Yeah,
incredibly long sword. That's where
and
Sephiroth's katana comes from.
Nodachi. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Nodachi or Odachi. And he
Mhm.
was holding it up, and they have this famous statue on the island where you can see Musashi coming down with the oar and Koji. It's fantastic. But anyway, he was late on purpose. Musashi's
Mhm.
famous. This actually plays into what Clark was just saying about the kind of mind games, like with Sephiroth breaking him down. But yeah, he was late to the fight on purpose and made him wait all day. So Koji was like enraged when he got there, and then he killed him in one blow to the head. Just one strike, the duel. It sounds like an anime. It's like one of the
Yeah.
craziest duels ever. And then Musashi famously became like a sort of enlightened, peaceful man in his later life, which is such a cool character arc. You can read the Vagabond manga if you're looking to kind of get into it. It's a really cool adaptation of a novel about his life, biography about his life. But anyway, yes, it is amazing, and it is the inspiration from Nomura designing the characters.
Yeah, and so how does this relate to this? Well, why is this not a redemption arc? And I think that's at the root of this. The rivalry between these two
Oh yeah,
characters is very important to the central
it's a final.
conflict.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
central
yeah.
conflict is how do these two characters
Mm-hmm.
respond, to the tragedy of their life. And Cloud chooses a different path and leans into something that's much more wholesome. It's much more healthy. It's about relying on others instead of being, an ubermensch, being, as sad as his life
Yeah.
is. And it's important that it's sad because, this is not a fair, this is not a Disney movie. This is, there's going to be some sadness, and Sephiroth's story is sad by design. He is tragic, but
Yes.
he still ultimately makes the choice, and that choice's foil against how Cloud responds is really important, very important to the core
Yes.
messaging and themes. And so, um,
Totally.
so how you
And I
amplify
think we
that though?
need a. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I
Yeah.
was gonna say how you amplify that is what we're talking about. Absorbing Genova, like going full
Yeah.
Norman
Yeah. Yeah.
Bates and killing Mother. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
yeah,
the natural like escalation of
yeah,
his character, and also to kind of have your cake and eat it. Like this is the end. There will not be. I hope there won't be like. Anyways, there's another sequel game coming out to finish Sephiroth out. Like no, we should finish him here, And how do you do that? Well, you make him more monumental and more iconic than ever by doing that, by becoming even more powerful, and then also finishing him. I would say the movie Hook came to mind. You've seen the Spielberg movie; it's incredible with Robin Williams. It's a classic, you know. And
Yeah.
at the end, he says, "What would the world be like without Captain Hook?" When he's about to kind of have this weird redemption, but then he betrays them and he goes to destroy them again, and then they kill him. They finish him off forever. The crocodile eats him once and for all. The iconic imagery. And with Sephiroth, I think what's really important is that we kind of have that moment. It's like he is always here. What would the world be like without Sephiroth? He's just there. He survived Advent Children. He's always a part of everything. He's in Smash Bros. And it's kind of this Kingdom Hearts, this endless continuity of him. And he was never defeated. So I think it would be so important to give us that final ending and it be bittersweet. It's like, oh, we love Sephiroth. What would the world be like without him?
Yeah.
And I want that bittersweet. It's like, oh, I don't want him. I kind of don't want him to die forever, but he is. Holy crap. Like, it would be really powerful and sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Absolutely.
be. It would be horrifying. But you know, it's kind of it's I think the natural end to that character arc, and I think a meaningful one
Yeah.
too. And also, I don't know why this came up, but I forgot. I want to add to my answer about, you know, like my friend wish, my irrational wish. Can we give Cloud a wing
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point? I want Cloud to have a wing. I know that's
Add another
so
wing.
corny.
Okay.
I just want Cloud to have a wing. Give Cloud a wing and one of his outfits. You know, like maybe an ultimate, like
Oh,
super end game
the
outfit.
Kingdom Hearts. The Kingdom Hearts outfit. He has a wing. Yeah. Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts 1. Like the
yeah,
awesome one with the bandaged Buster Sword. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I want a different wing, but
There
I
you go.
like that outfit. But I want to I want
Okay.
it to flap. I want flight mechanics. Okay, I want it to be like
Sounds great.
half white, half black to represent. Okay, anyways, all right. This is
Oh, the
stupid.
Angeal and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I support it.
FF8 Master C said, "Will we see any meaningful expansion to Midgar in Revelation? I always wish we could see more of the city, even in remake." That's a great question. I'll answer it first, and then you can decide what you're going to do with the answer. I would love to say that yes, we're going to see more. Like in the OG, even it's like we don't really see an expansion per se. We get to kind of revisit it in a little different way. There's like one new segment,
Yeah.
underground, but I would be surprised if we don't just like land in deep ground, and like deep ground is sort of like
Oh,
how we get up, and then we make it and it stays kind of the same. I feel like we're gonna see the rest of Midgar in maybe a little bit more limited capacity, because I'm just like trying to wrap my brain around how they get everybody there. I know they've already designed the assets, but they're like, but part of me is
Yeah.
like, okay, but they need to improve those assets because the assets in remake were trash. But also, like the environmental assets were a little rough, like compared to I think even
Oh, I see
Rebirth.
what you mean.
But and so like I don't want them to have to redo that. But also when I first envisioned part two, I never imagined it would be this giant open world game. I didn't imagine that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when Hamaguchi said, "Oh, it's kind of inspired by Horizon Zero Dawn," I was like, "Sure, you were inspired by that, but you're not gonna do that." And
Yeah.
then they did it, and then everybody complained about it for being too much game. But you know, not everybody, just a loud,
Oh, yeah,
loud majority, but loud minority on.
Says a lot, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that being said, so I could be wrong about it, but I would imagine that the expansion to Midgar we see is deep ground. But I would love to be surprised about that. And I also wish we could see more of the city in remake. What do you think,
Yes,
Phil?
I think that in Midgar we will get more. I think it's probably mostly going to be in the final like parachuting sequence where they infiltrate the city in the war and everything. I think it'd be really cool. There could be even a sequence where the party split up, like in the beginning of Dirge of Cerberus. It's actually a really cool scene where Yuffie and Vincent are up fighting Hojo and everybody's like doing different stuff. So they could have it that yeah, like say Yuffie whoever's like running through the streets of the slums, and you seeing like the war kind of affecting it and the different troops and everything in deep ground, and Wutai is invading, and then you cut to somebody, Barrett, whoever is up on the upper plate, and that could allow you to see a new sector you haven't seen up there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe up on the skyscrapers or something, out on the highways, and then like outside of the city center. But yeah, there's just so much. And obviously, we are going to see the Shinra Tower again, and then Rufus, and I think we'll probably get a Rufus boss fight. I think that's a given. We fought him in each game. But yeah, I think in that context, and that's great with deep ground. I didn't even think about that. You could have somebody, maybe Vincent. Vincent goes down into deep ground. There you go, and then he has his Dirge Cerberus, fights all the baddies down there. Or fight, maybe he has to find Vice, like take out the leader, and Vice is down there. Like, I think Vice would probably want to be on the battlefield, but you never know.
Yeah, and then
So, yeah, I
Genesis
think,
wakes up after you kill Vice. Yeah.
He wakes up and then Redemption starts playing. Gok. If that happens, me and Aaliyah will be like so excited. We'll just letting you know.
Listen,
If Gok starts playing.
listen, low key, and you know what? I take it back. High key, Redemption
Yes.
and Longing were bangers, and they were better than Why by Ayaka.
Dude, Redemption is, oh yeah. I mean,
Dude.
Redemption is such a good song. We listen to it all the time in like workouts and stuff.
Dude,
so
it's
good.
a banger,
on.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's incredible. And like it evokes some really cool emotions and everything.
yeah.
Like, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, though.
I like I said, Genesis is great. Make him really cool by not limiting him to like 5 scenes where he has to recite the stuff because there's no time. They can do it. They can make him really, really awesome, I think.
I love it. Okay, we're gonna ask. Okay, so we've got a few more that we'll get through, and then we'll call it. We're a little over time, but I think we're. Are you still okay to keep going, Phil?
It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah.
a few more minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. I hope we get ultimate weapons for every one of the characters, and I wonder if we build it like the celestial weapons in Final Fantasy X, or if it's just a drop. I like this. I like this idea. So like that the ultimate weapons are harder to get. I agree with
Yeah.
that in principle. I do have a minor thing, which is that if they're difficult to get in a way that is not so checklist oriented, I
Yeah,
did
for
I
sure.
did have an issue with Chadley just being like handing you how you did everything. I actually like the way we
Yeah.
had to get ultimate weapons in Final Fantasy VIII even. Like
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
like I would like for it to be like Final Fantasy. So for the ultimate weapon, sub quest to start as a result of us beating Ultima Weapon for the first time, and then that's how we get Cloud's Ultima Weapon. That would be a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you in that. I love like we love games like Elden Ring, like Breath of the Wild. And so why do we love those? Because there is a feeling of like, you say you're on Torrent, the horse on Elden Ring, and you're jumping around, and you're like, I feel like I just found something that no one else did.
Yeah.
In this really weird way, or I cheesed it in a really weird way, at least to get here. And then I got this really cool reward where you're like, does anybody else even know about that? And it's such an interesting feeling that is so rewarding. And I think they're already going to do this in the game because they're like, yeah, just parachute anywhere. Like you're gonna go and just like, I saw something on the way down. I gotta check that out next time. What was that? And that's such a great system. And then the Chocobo, oh, when I level him up, I can get up that mountain over there. I gotta check that out. And I think just they've already solved a lot of these things that I wanted in Rebirth. But like I said, now I think we can clearly tell that they were holding back in Rebirth with how ambitious it's gonna be. So
100%.
I can't wait.
Okay. Sia Dev said, isn't it ironic that in the Nebel flashback, Cloud talks about how Sephiroth went insane and became Dark Sephiroth, and then throughout Rebirth, Cloud becomes Dark Cloud, and what you just described makes sense to fight Dark Cloud. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think it's really important to make the. I mean, we talk about. I know there's speculation about a Sephiroth redemption arc. I think that's fine, and maybe they do something like that. I don't think so, but this is really Cloud's redemption arc, right? And so I think how you really nail that is you've got to show Cloud's descent, and then you have 2 characters that have fallen into this darkness, and the one who gets pulled out is the one who made bonds, and never
Yeah, totally.
that despite himself tried to make these connections with all these people, and the one who doesn't, the one who relied on himself, the Ubermensch, the Superman, um,
Yeah.
you know, that's the difference between these two arcs.
Oh, you just nailed it, man. The word bonds, right? Hamaguchi said is Rebirth's like thematic word, and it's going to show all the bonds that Cloud built are the reason he's saved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, you talk after the live stream sequence or before, but like the reason Tifa sticks it out with Cloud is because like he was there for her in the past. She even says like in Rebirth that now it's my turn to save you, my turn to protect you, depending on the translation, right? So it's like it's a really cool idea. And then after that, he says like, "I'm so sorry." This is a great scene on the Highwind, right? In the
Mm-hmm.
original, he's like, "I'm master of my own illusory world." Great line by Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and they say, "All right, we're still by your side. We're going to stick by," and that's because he was there for them in the past.
Yeah.
Like he said to Barrett, like, "I'm here for you, man." After the Dine scene, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm starting to believe it. Beautiful character growth. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what the remake is giving us. That wasn't in the original. There is no Barrett Cloud friendship from the original. Like, go
Yeah.
play it after Midgar, So this is fantastic. And I think that's what is going to make it so meaningful when we have that moment where Sephiroth's like, "I've got you.
Yes.
No one's going to support you," and then they all do. It's going to be great.
I love it. I love it. And I see Soldier first classes in here. Welcome in. We're gonna get him on soon as well, and that'll be a little bit more of a varied level of hype. But something he said,
Critique.
yeah, there's gonna be some critique in there too, and probably some stuff that we agree on as well as disagree on. Um, but something that he brings up is that it's one of Zach's wishes to have wings, and I also think that that might be part of why I want Cloud to get the wing, is just
Mm.
because for Cloud to get something that Zach wanted and Zach to never get it fills me, a Zach hater, with intense Schadenfreude and joy, and so I do like that. So there we go. So there we go.
Are you
Um,
actually a Zach hater? Like fully?
I didn't like Zach in Crisis Core, because I feel like I just don't. I just feel like he was kind of a flat himbo. But the characterization again,
In remake.
7R has
Yep.
done wonders. I thought the most interesting things about Zach's character that have ever showed up in the interlude, like his complex
Yeah.
response to
This is great.
to seeing uh to seeing Cloud alive, his complex response to hearing Marlene talk about Aerith liking Cloud. Like, it was the most human I've
Yeah.
ever seen him, but it was
And it
also,
showed like
yeah,
what a stand-up guy he is too. He's like,
yeah,
"All right, didn't see that coming. All right, let's work with it." I like,
yeah.
okay. That
I
was
know,
great.
and
That was great.
it was
Yeah.
charming. It was charming. And whereas
Yeah.
as in he was like just he was a placeholder. He was a literal plot device in the OG, and so it didn't matter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then he was super cool in Last Order, and then he
Oh
was
yeah.
a himbo cheeseball in Crisis Core, and I just don't always like characters like that. Like, I like characters like that in very specific settings, like Vash the Stampede type
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Yeah,
so,
that's fun.
yeah,
Well, I think that's the important thing is like that's why he's not the main character. Like,
he's
he's like
not.
Cloud is celebrated
He's not.
because of his depth. Like it's such a like I said, why are we talking about Cloud? Because it's one of the coolest most I'm actually about to launch a video on this. Like, is Cloud the best character in gaming history? And I'm going to do this for all the characters like Tifa, Aerith,
Yeah.
Barrett, like, and celebrate them and everything. Like, are
Yes.
they the best? Sephiroth, why are we still talking about them? And there's a reason, man. Like, he's incredibly layered character, and because of that climax scene, it solidifies it that we talked
Yeah.
about with showing what happened with Sephiroth, and it's like, oh man, it's beautiful stuff. And Zach, like you said, his function was originally to be the sort of like, oh, that's what happened, and then in Crisis Core they fill that in. And
Yeah.
I think in remake they just have a better team of everybody managing it. So he's a lot cooler.
Yeah. I fully agree. Well, with that, do you have any closing thoughts? And then we'll call it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I would say, first of all, I want to thank the Final Fantasy community. Like I said, I got to perform at Distant Worlds at Carnegie Hall a few days ago, and it was a dream come true working with Nobuo and everything and Sakaguchi. And those moments, and I got to meet a ton of people who went there to watch it. Thank you, everybody who came. It was absolutely amazing getting to
That's
talk to
so
you.
cool.
And I think it just really made me think again about how wonderful it is that this person, Hironobu Sakaguchi, had a vision, and that's why we're talking right now. Me and Baby Seal. That's why everybody's in chat. That's why we went to Distant Worlds. Everybody who bought a ticket, all these visuals that played, all these concepts. I got to sit next to Sakaguchi when we watched the opening
Oh,
bombing mission at Distant Worlds for a couple nights actually, and I looked over at him. He was sitting right next to me. The look on his face, and I was like, "What is this man thinking? That he thought of this concept of Midgar, along with Nomura and everybody, and everybody on the team, Najima, and to see it at this scale, 30 years later, and to
yeah.
see this response, this love of it, celebrating it in a different country, like
Yeah.
it was in New York. He's a man who is Japanese. It's just got to be such a wonderful thing, and it shows to me the beauty of the community. And why is it alive? Why did those shows happen? Why did Distant Worlds happen? Why are we talking today? It's because of the community keeping these stories alive and celebrating them now. And that's why, again, I have a very low tolerance for the kind of like pushback and get these games. I'm all for thoughtful critique, like you said. Maybe Soldier First Class has some cool critiques he wants to share. That's great. But this kind of like negativity that seems to be so common nowadays, like I have a zero tolerance for it, because I mean, we're celebrating this awesome story that has inspired a lot of us, to be better people, to think about our lives, to think about the planet and how we can do better and everything. And it's so wonderful to see the community, whether it was at Distant Worlds, whether it's in the chat here, continue to celebrate it and allow us to have these wonderful conversations about the
Yeah.
art, to dissect these characters and these stories. Like these are the things, and why it's immortal, why it's immortalized in all of us. And we continue to talk about it and why it inspires new art, like Claire Obscure.
Yeah.
I love it because they're so proudly celebrating their love of Final Fantasy in that game and their
Oh, yeah.
inspiration. They talk about it constantly. It's
Yeah.
it's very obvious if you play the game. It's FF10 and everything inspired them, but like they constantly talking about it in
Yeah.
interviews and everything. We love these stories, and it's just so wonderful to see that vision go out to everybody. So first of all, I just want to say, shout out to the community. Thank you, everybody, for making it such a wonderful experience to talk about everything. And I want to remind everybody that when you see the kind of like the discourse for whatever reason, the quote unquote discourse, and why it exists, I don't know. But I really encourage people, if you enjoy the game, to talk about why you love it. Like don't get wrapped into the discourse and arguing with people and stuff. Just talk to people who feel like you and enjoy it. Because that's what makes this community great. And when you see an actual group of people like at Distant World celebrating it, you realize, oh yeah, that's just like people who pretty much aren't fans of
Yeah.
the series anymore. Like just kind of in their death throes about why I'm not a fan anymore. It's like, okay, that's fine. I'm sorry you don't like it, but like we respect it, and feel free to talk about it. We're gonna enjoy it. Please don't harm our experience. But
Yeah.
anyway, it's a wonderful thing. It's so heartwarming to see this trailer come out and be so well received. And again, it's answered literally I had several critiques of Rebirth. It's answered every single one as far as the gameplay was concerned, and the story's looking fantastic on that front as well, and the confidence that Hamaguchi has and everything. So I'm so excited, and also to you as my friend, Baby Seal, to go through years of having these wonderful talks. It's a bit bittersweet to know that
Yeah.
this obviously won't be our last one,
Right.
but to know that it's the game's coming to an end, and
Yeah.
it's a wonderful journey to have been on. We've all made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was Aaliyah's first full Final Fantasy she played. My wife, she loves FF12 before
Yeah.
that, and for her to go through it with me has been so wonderful. And I am so excited for people who start their journey with when Revelation comes out, play
Yeah.
all three of the trilogy and like get to experience just the same thing we felt, which is the reason we're talking about it now.
Yeah.
And yes, I just want to thank everybody who came to the Distant Worlds, who's in the chat. it means the world to now, be involved officially with the franchise, and I can't wait to continue to celebrate it with you all. And yeah, thank you, Baby Seal, as always, for having me on. Just an absolute pleasure. I'm sure we will have many more thoughts
We
and
will.
talks
We will.
after this.
And
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be I mean, it's probably it's definitely less than a year away, and so these
Hmm.
coming 9 months are going to be wild, and I don't think
Yes.
we're too far from more news, like something substantial. And I've no insider knowledge on that or anything. I'm not saying that. I also wanted to just say to everybody on the channel that I too will be going through the remake trilogy from the top again, with my wife Heather. She will be playing remake from
Oh,
all the way to Rebirth, the end of Rebirth. She will not be playing the
incredible.
OG. And so we're going to do that over the next 9 months, starting this Thursday. So look forward to that. And yeah, with that, I want to thank everybody who's participated in chat. Phil, I love you very much. You've always been an ally. I've always been a longtime supporter of you and everything you do, and your success
Thank you, man.
always makes me feel good. Whenever I see you doing well, I feel like things are good in the universe. So it's good to see you
Thank you, man.
thriving, and
You too.
I can think of very few people that um, you know deserve it as much as you, and so it's good to see that.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Very heartwarming. Thank you.
Okay.
Much love to everybody here.